Jed. I think if you're Newcastle tonight, one of the things you've got to do is somehow find a way to hang on to the ball, get ball possession time underneath you, and keep that potent offense off the field for Central Bucks West. That could be a job that'll be very, very formidable tonight for Newcastle.
Well, Nick Marmo's a guy that's already had unofficial visits to Ohio State and Penn State. 6'6", 300 pounds. They're going to have him have a big night. Pat Kane is a guy we'll call an awful lot on the offensive side. A guy that was here in March, by the way, with a basketball team. And in the secondary, Ray Peluso's a guy that is somewhat of a playmaker. They're going to have to be big on run support tonight. The linebackers are going to have to fill the gaps, be very active.
Yeah, no question about it. That is where the game's going to be won and lost. That line of scrimmage, and like we said, we might as well say it right up front, that's tilted heavily in the favor of Central Bucks West on paper. But this Newcastle team has a lot of heart, and that just doesn't show up in the box score.
Sean Michael Janssen going deep along with Dave Edwards, and we are underway in Quad A. And it comes out for Dave Edwards. Edwards to the 25, slices forward to the 28, 29-yard line. Good pursuit for Newcastle. Ed Sikora, 6'2", 185-pound senior on the stop. And here it comes, La Machine on the field here.
Dave Edwards needs just 40 yards. That's the ball carrier right there. He needs just 40 yards rushing tonight to reach 1,000 for the season. He stepped in for the injured tailback Chris Ortiz, who suffered a torn MCL during a preseason scrimmage. And Edwards, he gets better each time out, Coach Mike Pettin says.
Mike Oriole, the quarterback, pitched Edwards, big hole, cuts it forward to about the 33 or 34. It's a gain of 4 or 5. Average yards on first down. That's one of the subtle stats in any football game. And Central Bucks West is good on first down as anybody in Pennsylvania.
Right away, Jed, you see an unbalanced line for Central Bucks West. They try to sweep to the left side.
Newcastle has a lot of fight. Opening minute of the football game. 2nd and 5. And we may have too much time. We'll wait for the verdict on the field. Mike Oriole replacing Corey Potter. Quarterback last year led them to a state championship. Kind of a work in progress. At Travis Blumgren the last time they made the final round.
Dead ball.
At Penn State now.
Encroachment, 5 yards, first down.
Hey, you line up in the neutral zone defensively, and Central Bucks West with a gift there.
Well, that's one thing that Newcastle can't afford here tonight, nor can any team once you get to the state final game. But I mean, your first series of downs, you really don't want to make mental mistakes.
Dustin Pishotti, the lone setback behind Oriole. Nothing subtle about this offense. Pischotti's first carry, tackle. The pile moves forward for about 3 or 4 yards.
One of the things that Central Bucks offense has been likened to from time to time is a scrum, like you'd see in rugby. It's not always that pretty. Look at this. Yeah. It's just a whole bunch of bodies moving forward, and you get in behind the wave and just float a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you talk about simple football. This is simple smash mouth football, no question about it. You just put your head down, cover the ball, and bowl straight ahead. I mean, this isn't some complex Delaware wing T formation. This is straight ahead smash mouth football.
Show a little motion here. Oriole going to pitch. Edwards got a big block. Now he's to the corner. Midfield 45, 40, and all the way down to the Newcastle 36-yard line. Well, they let Pishotti lead the break that time, and a big rip of 22 yards for Dave Edwards and a first down for West inside Newcastle territory. This is a frightening look of your defensive back.
Just a sweep to the right side, get some good lead blocking there from Pishotti, number 33. And Edwards uses his fine speed to turn the corner and pick up 22 yards. And there's Central Bucks West sitting in Newcastle territory in the first possession of the ball game at the Newcastle 36.
Corey Lemon must have felt like he was crossing against traffic that time with Pishotti leading the break. 230-pounder and only a junior. Pitch goes to Pishotti this time, cuts it upfield, slams inside the 30, and wallops it down to about the 28-yard line.
Just talk about punishing. One of the things to look at here in the backs, so many times you look at a tailback lineup like 6-7 yards behind the quarterback. Here you only see the back lineup at 4 yards behind. Everything is tight. It's hard to pick up who you're handing off to, and it's a quick burst to the line of scrimmage behind that mammoth offensive line.
Which we will isolate from time to time. They ran behind Big Ben Carver that time, going to the University of Virginia. 2nd 2nd and 2. A gain of 8. Pashadi will get the carry again. Up, build play action. Oriole downfield looking incomplete. Pass intended for Sean Michael Janssen. Great ball fake that time. That's something we've always noticed over the years with the CB West quarterbacks, and Orioles as good as anybody.
It's a great play by Joe Coward. Comes over, sees where this ball's gone. He has the coverage, but extends and knocks it away. That's a nice play by the cornerback, Joe Coward.
Saved a touchdown probably because, I mean, everybody just bought Pashadi going into the line. Third and 2. It's a power down to a power guy and a first down as he leaps forward to the 22-yard line. It's a gain of 6. What a thrust they are getting up front right now. They ran behind Ben Carver again.
Yeah, here they go.
Well, you get the idea, the kind of confidence the Central Bucks West has. They got a 2nd down and 3. They throw in the 2nd down and 3. They've got that much confidence. They got 2 more downs to get the 3 yards they're going to need. That's how much confidence they have in that running game.
Carver's coming out of the game.
Yeah, it looks like he got dinged up in the shoulder area. They're going to look at him. That is a developing storyline there. You hope that it's kind of a burner and he can shake that off a little bit. 1st and 10. West, as you look at Mike Pettin, one of the legendary coaches. He just came onto your screen there with a dark jacket on. Flags are down again.
Yeah, you talk about Mike Pettin's career at Central Bucks West. He's the first head coach to win 300 games in the PIAA Quad A level. He's in his 32nd year as head coach.
Dead ball. Delay game, 5 yards. Beats them. First down.
Ben Carver leaving the game is what led to that. They were late getting a play in. That does kind of get your attention when Mr. Carver's down to the sideline or off to the sideline with an injury.
Kind of like taking 2 people out of the lineup instead of just 1. Look at the tight formation here again. How tight they stay to the line of scrimmage.
Pitch goes to Edwards, has a big hole, has 5, has 10, inside the 15 to the 12-yard line. It's a gain of 16 more.
You know what I'm amazed at, too, is not only is that offensive line of Central Bucks West very big, and we're going to see it right here. Look how they fire off the ball. Look at big number 61. It's pulling guard for Central Bucks West. That's John Baer, and he's leading the way. These are big people, and they just fire off the ball, explode off that line of scrimmage.
You talk about Edwards. He expected to start the season really at tight end. When Ortiz went down with an ACL, Edwards stepped in. All he did was have 963 yards for the season and 7 touchdowns. Not a bad step in.
1st and 10, CB West playing keep away on this opening drive, which is now more than 3 minutes old. Pashadi rips into the middle. Still going, still rumbling to the 5-yard line. It's a gain of 6 more. Took 6 guys with him along for the ride.
Well, there's a guy you just cannot tackle above the waist. And we saw a couple of Newcastle defenders try to do just that. Look at this. Shotty's up top. Guys trying to tackle him up top like that. He keeps the Pistons pumping. Moving down towards the 5-yard line. Inside the 5, it'll be 3rd and 3 from the 5.
There's a young man that's used to carry it off, and 259 rushes for 1,733 yards this year, and all he had was 35 touchdowns.
2nd and 3 from the 5. Hand off Pashadi again, pushing, and lunging forward, close to a first down, near that 2-yard line.
That's it.
It's not what you call a real high-octane attack. It's productive, but it's kind of a drip approach.
Well, you know, this is the philosophy of Smith football is, you know, control the ball, control the clock. You know, part 1 is control the ball. Part 2, control the clock. And when you get into the red zone, you want to come away with points. So, you know, so far, Central Bucks West is sticking right to their game plan, working to a T.
10th play of the drive on 3rd and 1 from the 3. Pashadi leaps forward and touchdown. No, it's at the 1. Just at the 1. He was close. He's right at the welcome mat.
Right here.
The key here, though, is you're throwing down the gauntlet saying your defense is going to sit on the field for a long time against us. Over 4 minutes and 30 seconds already in this drive, and this is the first drive of the game.
Now, last year, when we saw him in the state championship game against Upper St. Clair, you know, you talk about this power game. It's the gift that keeps on giving. The real gift starts giving in the 3rd and the 4th quarter, was something you talked about, Gary. I mean, USC last year, there was just nothing in the tank at the end.
Well, you decimate a team, and especially when a team has people going on both sides, then the guys that are on the offensive sides lose any punch that they're going to have in trying to make your offense go. So it really has kind of a double whammy on you.
Right. It's like fighting a body puncher. I mean, you know, you're going to soften up the belly, and I mean, they really do beat up a team, and it's almost as if their opponents catch the CB West flu later in the game in the second half. They're just a step slower.
Ball at the 1 foot line. Handoff Pisciotti. Touchdown, Central Bucks West. A lengthy 12-play drive that gobbles up 4 minutes and 56 seconds, making an 11-play drive.
You got to be impressed. I mean, they just say, here it is, here it comes, and right over the top, and we'll finish it off on you right here. Pisciotti, monster man in this drive.
Dave Edwards provided the quickness. Pisciotti provided the muscle. 6-0 West. Here comes the conversion attempt. Bob Tumulty. Pretty good kicker. He's had a lot of practice getting this job done. The holder is Bill Stone. Snap down, kick up, and it is good. 7:04 remain in this first quarter of play. Central Bucks West out to a 7-0 lead. It's been great having you with us all weekend long as the PIAA presenting in association with the PCN, welcoming viewers on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. WIPTF Productions in partnership with the PIAA and PCN all weekend long as we bring you the first statewide live broadcast of the PIAA Football Championships. And you are looking in on Mike Pettin talking to his special teams right now. That was impressive, Gary. A lengthy drive to start the game.
This is CB West football. It's not always the prettiest thing to watch, but it is relentless. 11 plays, 71 yards, 4 minutes and 56 seconds. Pisciotti with the 1-yard plunge. That's probably been said a few times this year. In fact, 36 times if you're involving Pisciotti.
And, you know, when you play CB West, you know, Mike Pettin, he just doesn't care. I mean, teams throw everything at him. 8-man fronts, 9-man fronts. Parkland, actually, in the Eastern Final, would line up in a 9-man front at the time. And he just sticks with his game plan, says, we can play smash mouth football and probably, you know, as good as anybody in the state, which they've displayed throughout the year. So, you know, he's not going to get out of his game plan.
You talk about a Mike Pettin, you're talking about a guy that's won 310 ball games in his career and lost only 42 and is looking for his 3rd championship here in the 90s.
Tumulty to kick off. Newcastle trailing now 7-0. We'll see go on offense for the first time. High end over end kick. Fielded by Patrick Kane, the tight end, trying to get outside, and West is all over that at the 24-yard line. Tackle is made for CB West. Andrew Elsing in on the stop. Let's have a look at the offense. Big offensive line. As we mentioned, Sean Runyon. Center is a good one. Nick Marmo is the real bell cow here. Literally 6'6", 300 pounds. Joe Cowart's had a great year, and Pat Kane, the tight end's a good one.
And John Rosati, the halfback's been playing on an injured knee all season long. These guys have tremendous heart.
Joe Cowart. He's kind of a riverboat gambler back there. He's tough. Cowart on a keeper. Gets forward for about 2 or 3 yards before he runs into Greg Kinsel, a senior.
This Newcastle team, this is the first time they've been back to the playoffs since 1987. First time they've been in the state championship game, and they really have done a great job in the rebuilding process.
Defensive front. Angelo Polina's a good one. He's always active. Brian Buckley seems like he's been at West now for about 10 years. A lot of these guys with playoff experience, and then there's
Dave Edwards doing double duty.
Linebacker Ryan Blumgren, his brother Travis of Penn State now. Pat Kane's got the pass, got a first down near the 39-yard line. A gain of 10. He is a good one, and Gary, we saw him in March on the basketball floor. This guy is a super player and has really come on here late.
We're going to talk about some eye-hand coordination. Watch this. Little quick turnaround, ball thrown behind him, picks it up, and then makes it into another play, gets it out near the 40-yard line. And first down for Newcastle right away. It's interesting here. It's so important for Newcastle to establish themselves in this drive. That's what CB West does. They say it's in your court now. You got to match what we did.
Weston Sheldon going to pitch it back to jump Rosati. Nice positive gain to about the 47-yard line, a gain of 6. They're getting pretty good push on that offensive front here early, Mark.
Yeah, that's right. Here you see Rosati take the deep pitch. Reads his block very nicely. This Bishotti kid, he plays, like I said, he has a lot of guts. He's playing with a partially torn ACL throughout the year. He rambled for over 619 yards. He's a tremendous halfback. I mean, one of those kids that coaches love to coach.
Quick handoff's going to be Cowart on a keeper across midfield, close to a first down near that 48 or 49-yard line. I think he's got it.
You've got to like the play calling so far. The quarterback sneak, then we have a quick scamp around the outside, another quick pass, another quarterback sneak, and they're really mixing up their plays very, very well as Newcastle.
First down, Red Hurricane to the 49-yard line. Head coach Gary Schooley had played at Newcastle, certainly knows the tradition, played on an undefeated team in 1971 and has brought the glory back. Motion man is Gordon Austin. Kane is back. Cowart back. Looks downfield. Got a man. It's Lemon, and he can't hang on. Fans want interference. Not going to get that.
Oh, boy, I'll tell you, that was a close one. Well, watch the play again. You can see they want the interference call. It's not going to come back. Now, you're going to see the legs get tangled up. Both players going for the ball.
Watch the great job by Joe Cowart here, the quarterback, to sidestep the rush. Steps up in the pocket.
No, that's a good call.
No contact.
Good non-call.
Just lost his feet. Lost his feet.
That's why these officials are doing the state championship game.
Well, you have to let the defensive back at least have some kind of lane. An incidental contact like that. Kane, double reverse handoff. This is Lemon slamming to the 44-yard line. Make that Gordon Austin. He's only 5'7". It's a guy who can get lost in the mail, but he has got some quickness.
I'll tell you what, Newcastle runs this play with a lot of speed and precision. This is a counter misdirection, and it's designed to confuse an over-aggressive defense. And they ran that very, very well. That's a fast-developing precision play.
Good opening drive here. It's 3rd and 5 now. Cowart back on play action, now onto the gun. Running for his life, nowhere to hide, and down he goes. All the way back at his own 47-yard line.
Give credit to the secondary on that one, who really had all the receivers bottled up. There was nowhere to look. Right there he looks. Oh, nothing open. Now he tries to scamper, and now the front four takes over for CB West.
Joe Wilson in on the sack for Central Bucks West, also helping out Brian Buckley. And Newcastle moved the ball well, will be forced to punt. Pat Kane will kick it away now. Dave Camburn, one of the deep men, along with Sean Michael Janssen. Good kick by Kane. Fair catch called for by Janssen at around the 13-yard line. Well, Central Bucks West, here they come back out. Had the ball over 5 minutes in that opening drive. Jed Donahue along with the coach, Gary Sutton, Mark Shuey. You look in on Gary Schooley there, the head coach at Newcastle, 11-3 coming into this game.
Yeah, Gary Schooley called that upset victory a 13-7 victory over North Allegheny. It reminded him of the glory days of Newcastle's football in the 1970s. As he said, Schooley was a 1971 Newcastle graduate. He played on Newcastle's 1970 team that went undefeated. He took over in 1995, his first year at Newcastle. They went 0-10, so he's got this program on the uptick in a hurry.
Oriel, the quarterback. Play the motion man, Pishotti, big hole, 20, rumbling, 40, midfield, and still on his feet. Look at this, pouring it on, 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Dustin Pishotti. Oh my goodness.
86 yards to glory for Dustin Pishotti. And there's what CB West does. The mental aspect of pressure on you. Watch this. There's that front line opening up the hole, and he just flew.
Oh, boy, a couple of good drive blocks there on the offensive line. And Pishotti, for a big man, this guy can move. Because look at this. Pat Kane has the angle on him. He went for the legs, which is proper tackling technique for a big guy like Dustin Pishotti. Yeah, Pishotti, he goes 235 pounds, but he can really move that 235 down the football field, can he?
Well, that has some coaches at the table writing some mail. Tumulty's kick is good. He hooked it right in there. Well, we've had a lightning bolt.
Good.
First drive went 5 minutes. This one, how long did it take him to run down the boundary there? Took him 15 seconds.
Yeah, with equipment. 7 carries, 114 yards, and we have 3:43 to go in the first quarter. Dustin Pisciotti might be the real deal. What's he need? 254 yards for 1,000 this year?
2,000.
2,000.
Yeah.
Well, he took a big swipe out of that in one swing of the bat, an 86-yard run. 14-0. Central Bucks West.
Well, you know, 254 yards in a ball game may sound like an awful lot. Yeah, and it is. But, I mean, keep in mind, this is a Central Bucks West team that picked up over 500 yards on the ground last year, right here in the Quad A championship game. So, I mean, this team, with the offense they run, with the personnel they have up front, they're fully capable of putting up huge numbers of offensive groundwork.
Well, it's a team that averages close to 275 yards a game rushing the ball. So that's not anything unusual here. And already they've staked 2 touchdowns in the early going and thrown the gauntlet straight in the face of Newcastle.
We'll see what kind of moxie they have trying to overcome this. Their fans are really urging them on. That was something, an 86-yard run. High pop-up kick. Didn't catch a number, I believe that was
number 23.
Jeff Scrim, or 23, you say?
Greg Kinzel came in, got through the wedge, and made a nice tackle and a special team play there. 5'11", 195-pound senior.
1st and 10, Newcastle at the 28-yard line. There's your time remaining in the upper portion of your screen, 3:37.
That's first quarter.
Dustin Pisciotti just 86 yards.
Ball's not bad for Newcastle. They had 3 minutes on their first possession, just came away empty-handed.
This one's not off to a promising beginning. Meeting the door was Angelo Polina, 5'11", 190 pounds, and went headstrong right into Gordon Austin.
Take it down.
Bang, bang.
Double stick.
Loss of 3 on the play. So it'll be 2nd and 13 now as you see Mike Pettin. He's going, I like the start here. Not a bad situation.
It looks a lot like last year.
might have said to Dustin Pisciotti, you scored too quick. Well, I'll tell you what.
You know, I'm only kidding.
Central Bucks has not had a whole lot of close calls this year. We'll talk about their lone close shave of the year.
Double handoff. John Rosati, positive yardage, close to a first down, up near the 38-yard line. That's close. I think he's right at the chain. That's good. Excellent ball movement, and this misdirection is working so far.
Yes, it is. This is what you have to do to take an aggressive defense off its game. And that time, Rosati hit the hole very nicely. Good play call, executed very nicely by the offensive unit. They pick up a first down on the play.
Nick Sharo, good kickout block. He was number 64 in your screen that time. You look in on Joe Coward. Quick handoff this time to the fullback, that being Justin Sheldon, 6 foot, 190-pound junior. Got about a yard.
Take it down.
This is a wall right here. I mean, this is an iron curtain look that Central Bucks will throw at you. That's Brian Callahan, 6'3", 215.
Well, Central Bucks West had a narrow 13-12 victory back on October 16th. And they beat North Penn. Head coach at North Penn, son of Mike Penn. They run the same kind of program.
Mike Penn Jr. Quick handoff. And I believe that is going to be Gordon Austin in on the carry again. He gets lost in there. He's only 5'7".
You get the impression, mano-a-mano, straight up the middle, you're not going to get a whole lot against the CB West defense tonight. That the kind of guile they've been using so far in the game, the little counter plays and so forth, is the answer.
Hold it.
Yeah, the counters, the misdirections, and
equipment here.
And I'll tell you what.
Okay.
You know, they're going to utilize Pat Kane as well. He's a great pass catcher. He's got some great hands. Talking about number 88, fine tight end. So, I mean, they've got some very good athletes on this squad that can obviously execute, you know, a precision offense.
And Pat Kane is the guy they'll probably be looking for in this particular play with a 3rd down and 5.
Kane lined up in a wide receiver position. Coward back, looking. They got the screen set up, but West is all over it. And a flag goes down. That might be against Central Bucks West. That'll be interesting to see how this works out. Good misdirection. They had it set up well with Gordon Austin.
71 red, ineligible downfield.
Ineligible
It was beyond the
downfield.
line of scrimmage, 4 yards.
Captain, we have an
That is
ineligible.
a super play by Bill
Ineligible
Stone right
downfield.
there. He's a senior.
Make the play.
Lot of
It'll be
tournament
4th
experience.
down and about 3, or we free 3rd down and about 20.
Caught Nicholas Marmo downfield, number 71, as an ineligible
Be
receiver.
3rd and 10, or 4th and about 3.
3rd and 10 or 4th and 3. Was the pass behind the line of scrimmage?
I thought it was behind.
Well, this seems to be the great debate. There's Gary
You had to tell
Schooley.
me.
No, I can't tell.
Was it behind the line of scrimmage?
I thought it was. Yeah, now they're debating whether the ball was caught, whether it was caught behind or in front of the line of scrimmage, this screen pass.
Now we'll wait for the verdict on the field. I think they'll decline the penalty and take 4th
There is
down.
no flag.
Yeah, that will
The
negate.
pass was behind the line
Right.
of scrimmage.
Passes behind the
Play
line of scrimmage.
stands, 4th down.
Passes behind the line
No
of scrimmage.
option at all.
Yeah, right. We can't have an illegal receiver downfield, so
4th and 3, so that will mean they're forced to punt. Dropping deep for Central Bucks West, Dave Camburn, a sophomore. Also going back there is Sean Michael Janssen. And we have come timeout, Central Bucks West. Apparently they didn't have the right alignment on the field. Well, as we've been mentioning, it's wonderful to have you with us all weekend long. PIAA presenting an association with PCN. All of our viewers on the Pennsylvania Cable Network, WITF Productions in partnership with the PIAA and PCN. This is our 6th year together here with the WITF production crew, and it's great to be back in Hershey for the first time here with the PIAA State Football Championship since 1991. They have done a great job here at the Hershey staff. Scott Mullen, there's one of the first touchdowns right there. Dustin Pisciotti, that's the short one.
yeah, he's got
Here's the real home run bomb. One swing of the bat.
Yeah, he's got 2 contrasting touchdowns. One 1-yard popper over the middle, and this one, an 86-yard scamper around the left end.
It's what you call the short and the long of it.
Yeah, look at him sticking there. Big guy and showing some great acceleration in the open field.
Some nimble footing, as it were, and
Just a junior.
punt now by Newcastle.
High punt by Kane. Johnson, that ball is down. I don't know if they gave enough room anyway to make the catch.
There goes the flag.
West has the football,
That was a
but
pretty
you'll
gutsy.
find that Newcastle was right there in front of him as he made the catch.
That's a pretty gutsy fair catch decision by Sean Michael Janssen.
Justin Sheldon was right there. This will be a 5-yard penalty. Richard McCrillis, our lead official for this Quad A game. All the officials have done a great job over the weekend. We haven't seen one controversy yet. Earlier this afternoon, in case you missed it, Mount Carmel with a resounding 44-7 victory in the AA championship against Shadyside. Well, now they're debating, since he recovered it, where to put it. It's got to be a 5-yard penalty. Here we go.
Fair catch interference on red, 15 yards,
Ooh,
1st down.
15-yarder that time. That'll take it all the way up to the 41-yard line.
I'll tell you don't want to give this Central Bucks West team a short field. We saw how lethal their offense could be. A 15-second one-play drive last time.
Hey, the truth, Mark, I think a short field for these guys might be 100 yards.
That's true.
Hear a tractor in the background. Isn't that kind of ironic? Mike Oriole. Here's the lead pull. There he goes again. Pisciotti into the secondary. And he was almost gone, but a big rip to the 33-yard line. Pisciotti well over 100 yards already with 40 seconds to go in the first quarter. Mark, he is a load.
There you see Pisciotti takes the deep pitch, goes on the right side, left side sweep rather. Look, whole host of blockers out in front, and he does a lot of this work himself. A shoe top saving tackle by Newcastle, or else Pisciotti was off to his 3rd touchdown in this quarter.
Well, William Caparulo, a hero for the moment for Newcastle by making that shoe top tackle, but 27 more yards tacked on to Pisciotti, and he's on a roll.
1st and 10, the ball all the way down the Newcastle 32-yard line. Stay with a good thing. This time they got a yard and a half of the Newcastle fans saying that's a little more like it.
You know, I haven't seen Ben Carver come back into this ball game.
Have yet to see him.
Went out on the first series.
He's over on the bench still.
Like
University of Virginia signee. He's trying to loosen it up.
Arm or shoulder got dinged up. Big 310-pound tackle, all-stater.
He'll be back, Mark. I was just found him over there on the Central Bucks West bench, working things out. And we have come to the end of the first quarter of play. And Central Bucks West, surgically, methodically, 14-0. Used a long drive and a long run to take a 2-touchdown lead as we make the turn.
You said surgically and methodically, Jed, and that's exactly what's happened. You feel like Mike Pettin over there going scalpel, knife, scissors. I mean, just takes you apart with the same thing over and over and over again. And the residual of it all is the fatigue factor that is going to wear on you as the game progresses.
That's what we've seen over the years with Central Bucks West, especially in this particular environment. Last year beat Upper St. Clair 44-20. We did one of the greatest games I've ever seen finish-wise. North Hills beat them back in 1993, barely 15-14. That's when Eric Kasparowicz went in on a 2-point conversion on the last play of the game.
Yeah, on a 4th down and goal from the 27-yard line with the wind chill at about 19 below. No kidding. And yeah, North Hills somehow scored a touchdown to give Central Bucks West a heartbreaking defeat in the 1993 Quad A championship game in Altoona.
They also won the last time I was here in Hershey in 1991 against Erie Cathedral Prep, 26-14. Gary, numbers in the first half. Rather scary, most of it on the ground. How about all of it?
First quarter, 184 yards for CB West, 0 passing. That's about a normal game. Newcastle, 34 yards rushing, 12 yards passing, 46, not all that bad. Pishotti, 141 yards in the first quarter on 9 carries. It's double figures every time he touches the football.
Ocean man is Polina. Hand off Pishotti, ripping and slamming. Nope, it's a keeper for Oriel across the 30 to the 27-yard line and a gain of 4. That'll create 3rd and 4 upcoming for Central Bucks West. Mark?
That's Mike Oriel. He just a sophomore. I think real good ball handler, great football player. And, you know, Mike Pettin has a lot of confidence in Oriel to throw the ball. And like I said, in non-competitive situations where they may be ahead handily in a game, they'll start throwing the ball. They'll open it up.
Here's a down, though, Mark, where you normally would throw the ball for most teams. 3rd and, a long 4, possibly a short 5. This is probably a down where CB West is going to probably run the ball because they think of it in terms of 2-down territory all the time.
Really jamming it up. Quick hitter and a first down. I don't think that's Pishotti this time.
Scrum.
Thank you.
And you wonder why Central Bucks West plays this smash mouth type of football. It's very simple. Look at the holes this offensive line is able to open up for the running backs.
That was Brian Buckley. He's 220 pounds. I guess that's a relative light load there.
And when you can run block like that, why throw?
You've got to get the feeling, if we were watching a game in the 1940s, we had a chance to go back there and watch some of the ghosts, they'd be really pleased to see this kind of football. This harkens back to another era.
This is Woody Hayes, Vince Lombardi type of football right here.
You're just right on the same page there. 3 yards in a cloud of dust. What would Woody Hayes say? 2 things bad can happen if you put it in the air.
There's 3 things that can happen with a pass. Yeah, 2 of them are bad.
I think you can include Mike Pettin in that school of thought as well.
As we mentioned, a lot of thanks goes to Scott Mullen this weekend for the job that he has done coordinating all of the stadium crew and the entire staff here at the Hershey Entertainment and Resort Company, creating the bowl atmosphere. Returning here to Hershey for the first time since 1991, and the PIAA presenting in association with PCN. We're welcoming viewers on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. First time ever that all 4 games have been broadcast live statewide over the entire weekend. It's been an honor to be part of this particular history-making event.
Timeout is up.
Jed Donahue, Gary Sutton, Mark Shuey, and our entire WIT Up production crew.
Go you play.
Looking at Central Bucks West, 1st and 10 from the Newcastle 23-yard line and a 14-0 lead. Full house backfield, jumbo look. This Dave Edwards, he's the quickest one. He's in the secondary to the 5. Edwards to the 3-yard line. He stepped out there, went for the pylon, and almost got there. Boy, this guy's coffee quick to the outside. He's got hiccup quickness, and you'll find out here Dustin Pisciotti and Buckley know how to block. Also, give a good kick out there for Polina.
Yeah, Polina. And like you said, Pisciotti came out with some nice lead blocking. I'll tell you, kind of a sugar and spice look. You got the spice with Pisciotti, a hard-hitting run, and then you got the fast stuff of Edwards.
Short yardage, dial 33 to the goal line. Not in yet.
Kind of Mr. Inside and Mr. Outside look here, so to speak, Mark and Jed. You've got one over the middle and one around the corner. Here's Mr. Over the middle. Pisciotti diving for that goal line one more time. Doesn't quite get there, but has him very close.
Second down.
The password here is inevitable. We're at the half-yard line, 14-0 Central Bucks West. 10-10 left. Shot of the short man, quick handoff, nudging, powering, touchdown, Central Bucks West. Dustin Pisciotti for the 3rd time. 20-0 Bucks.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
It's just like watching a battering ram at the gate, and eventually you get in. Look, push, in, and Pisciotti with touchdown number 3. We've got 9:57 to go in the 2nd quarter.
Doesn't hurt that you have half a ton moving the pile before you get there. The line of scrimmage.
That offensive line is so
good.
Very impressive. And I mean, you're doing this without probably definitely your best offensive lineman, Ben Carver.
Tumulty on for the conversion. Plenty of practice. And it's 21-0 with 9:57 to go. Well, Newcastle, they've done some nice things on offense. Problem, they haven't seen it enough. Here's why.
There you see Pisciotti. He's just following the pile. Comes down. It's the 2nd effort that gets Dustin Pisciotti and Central Bucks West their 3rd touchdown of this ball game. As you see, the faithful who have come up the turnpike to the Hershey Park Stadium.
Well, the only fatigue factor that CBF West has to worry about so far, maybe at this rate, is Tumulty's leg kind of wearing out by the end of the game and not be able to kick the extra point, for heaven's sakes.
Well, this is a big moment in this game for Newcastle. They know it. Gary Scully would like to keep it away, and
I'll tell you what.
One blaze for 86 yards by Pisciotti. The rest of it is a little bit more as advertised.
Newcastle lost 3 games this year. To Norwin 19-10, Shaler beat them 28-27, and Seneca Valley a 16-9 winner over Newcastle. And Newcastle really dominated the 4th quarter in their loss to Shaler. Almost came roaring back. They're calling it the greatest 4th quarter in Newcastle football history. They controlled the ball for a full 10 minutes in that quarter. Their total yardage, 158-12. They outscored the Titans 14-0, but they still lost by a point. But the team came away feeling really good that they did not quit. That final 12 minutes, they put to good use and nearly pulled out what looked to be a lost cause.
7 plays, 59 yards on that drive, 2 minutes and 54 more seconds. Pisciotti with the 1-yard plunge, his 3rd touchdown of the game. And so far, you're looking at Newcastle. They've held the ball for 3 minutes. On the other side, you have a team that's already held it for 9.
Those are pretty scary TOPs right there. Time of possession. Jeff Scrim, the deep man, got under it just a little bit. And crunched at the 45. Did he hold on? I don't know if he did. Nope, he did not.
Can't blame him if he did.
Central Bucks West didn't see a number there. And the fumble. And you got to feel for Quallen Davis here, a sophomore, as we're going to see this again.
There's one where you want to learn how to wave very quickly, called a fair catch.
Yeah, look at this.
Look at this.
Quallen Davis comes up and he just gets stuck hard.
1st down.
And looking at the hit, we'll point him out because it's a whopper. Damian Smith, a junior, 5'10", 205. And just what Newcastle did not want to see, the Central Bucks West offense back out onto the field now in glorious shape, 1st and 10 at the Newcastle 36. Mike Oriole, he's back, gonna roll, looking, has time, throwing deep down the middle, it's caught for a first down. Sean Michael Janssen inside the 10 all the way to the 5-yard line, a gain of 21.
I'm sure Mike Pettin will take that, but you can hardly help but think that maybe he's a little mad they covered too much territory too quickly. But look at this great pass. Eyes up the whole way, looking, rolling out, and then releasing. They say we can throw it through the air, too. Beautiful pass.
I need to jump that by 10 more yards, make that a gain of 31. First and goal at the 5. Central Bucks leading 21-0. Here Oriole barking out the cadence. Here's Bisciotti picking his way through the woods to the 3-yard line. Lots of tall trees and timber in there. Mark?
You know, Mike Oriole just displayed that he can throw the football as a quarterback, even though this is a ground-oriented attack, heavily so. And Sean Michael Janssen, very good wide receiver as well, but he's their leading wide receiver, and he's got 20 catches on the entire season. That's less than 2 per game.
Hey, guys, let's play ball, okay?
Can you hear some of that preventative officiating going on there we've seen throughout the
Back
weekend?
off where you belong. Come on.
And the referees in there saying, hey, let's take care of it. Let's play football. And that's the kind of things you want to see going on throughout the game.
Second and goal from the 3-yard line. Johnny lined up. He's got 3 touchdowns already. Into the pile again. Well, Newcastle very taut in this particular situation.
Thank you. Back it off.
Tackle was made for Newcastle on the bottom that time.
We got
Sapienza, 6', 230-pound linebacker.
You're going to see a lot of collisions right down here along the line of scrimmage. I'll tell you what, you're right. Newcastle, very stingy here in the red zone. I mean, Bisciotti had to work for that last 1-yard touchdown plunge. I mean, he had to work. That second effort is what got him in last time. But, yeah, this is tough real estate for Central Bucks West. A lot of heart displayed here by Newcastle inside the red zone.
Newcastle giving up 13 points a game during the course of the season.
They'll run Bisciotti wide, one-on-one, pushing, touchdown, Central Bucks West.
You can always tell where Bisciotti is because you can see other uniforms moving with him. That's unbelievable.
As we said, he moves with the speed of a line painter at times, but here's the line play, and
right down along the line of scrimmage. Look at that collision at the 2-yard line. My, oh, my.
And look at the leg drive from Bisciotti all the way into the end zone and finally getting thrown down, but not until he scored.
That's Bill Caparola, the outside linebacker, number 17 for Newcastle, who tried to come up and make a one-on-one stick on Bisciotti, 235-pounder. And I'll tell you what, Caparola's going to feel that one.
Tumulty on for his 4th conversion attempt. Bingo. 28-0. Central Bucks West. Hardly bucking a trend I couldn't resist with the pun there. Well, that's like moving a refrigerator up the stairs right there. You lose.
Look at his teammates there trying to push him into the end zone from behind as well. Anything to get that 6 on the board.
4 plays, 36 yards, 2 minutes and 2 seconds added on to the time of possession. When you go back over their touchdowns so far, all 4 by Bisciotti. First possession, 4:58, touchdown Bisciotti. Second possession, 15 seconds, touchdown Bisciotti. Third possession, 2 minutes and 54 seconds, touchdown Bisciotti. Fourth possession off the fumble recovery here, 2 minutes and 2 seconds, touchdown Bisciotti. 4 touchdowns, 28-0, still 7:52 to go in quarter number 2. How much time so far for Newcastle? 3 minutes. No score.
They are impressive. You wonder how they're only 7th. If Berwick could get up to 4 in AAA, nationally, why is this team 7th? It's been a question I've had for an awful long time about how Dave Kreider does a USA Today national poll. This team deserves a lot more respect than a number 7 look nationally. Marker down. Probably jump off sides a little bit.
So far out of the 16 minutes and 8 seconds we've had here in the first half, guys, CB West has had the ball 9 minutes and 7 seconds of it. Gives you an idea, again, of that time of possession and the wearing down of the defense that's taking place.
Yeah, well, you know what, in that ball control offense that CB West runs, they're winning both elements of that.
5-yard penalty.
Got the lead on the scoreboard, obviously, 28-0, and they're winning the game of the clock. They have time of possession, and they're just watching that clock melt. towards halftime. 7:52 to go in quarter number 2. 28-0, all CB West here in the Quad A championship game from Hershey Park Stadium.
Well, they came in heavily favored. They have played as advertised.
And you wonder if they're the 7th best team in the country.
That's what I was just saying.
Who are the other 6?
I mean, I can understand how teams in Texas, maybe sometimes in California, but how does this guy have this team only 7th, and yet he'll put Berwick, who's in AAA in this state, up to number 1 or number 4 nationally. This team's got all the tools physically.
You've got to be impressed, Jed. They compare Mike Pettin on the high school level to a Joe Paterno on the college level. Maybe one of the reasons why is the accentuation of the block and the beauty of the block. Blocking is the #1 thing at CB West. You can see how it pays off.
They're very clinical in their approach to this game. With the football, a scrim. Not much room to go as West really beginning to smell it now. The 23-yard line.
That ball hit the turf again, but ball carrier ruled down by the officials. Oh, Gary Schooley must have gotten a couple of gray hairs watching that. It was right in front of him. Doesn't want to hand the ball to CB West once again at their own 20-yard line.
We have to blow dust off the offense right now. It's been a while since we've seen them on the football field. Good tackle, Justin McDonald.
1 possession in the game so far for Newcastle. We've got 7:43 to go until halftime.
They trail 28-0. Double handoff. Going to the outside is Austin, and he flies forward. Did he fumble again? I don't know if that popped out or not.
Big hit by Damian Smith on the defensive line. He stayed home. He wasn't confused by the misdirection.
Second down. Number 2.
Gordon Austin, a 5'7", ran right headstrong into Damian Smith. He's only a junior, and they say he's just a great prospect.
Well, yeah, you saw it right there. I mean, he stayed home on the misdirection, didn't get confused, stood his ground, made a textbook tackle. That's good football from Damian Smith, number 32.
Joe Cowart, been a real mainstay. Quick handoff and a big hole for John Rosati. Well short of a first down.
One of the things you see from Newcastle, nice quickness, quick bursts off the line here. Again, they should be. They're relatively fresh. The offense has only been out there 1 time. This being the 2nd possession. But look at this. Nice quick burst. Brings it up to about a 3rd down and 3 yards to go.
Yeah, precision offense. They run fast, developing plays.
Problem is right now you're down 28 points and time is not exactly on your side.
Gary Schooley, the head coach of the Red Hurricane of Newcastle. The winningest program in the WPIAL, looking at 3rd and 3. Cowart back. Cowart going to keep it himself. Has room, cuts forward, first down Newcastle. Boy, they really needed to move the sticks there. That is a starting point.
Joe Cowart did a nice job of picking his way through. Watch this. He looks, he sees, he dances a little bit, picks his way through, and then dives for those first down markers. And Joe Cowart showing you a little bit of courage right there from Newcastle. You don't get to this game, Mark, without having big hearts and without having a lot of skill. And this team has a lot of skill.
That's exactly right. You know, you got to look at the job Gary Schooley has done just since he's been here since 1995. The team went 0-10 that first season. Here they are in the state title game.
Huge hole for Justin Sheldon all the way down to the Central Bucks 40-yard line. A gain of 26 yards. And a first down for Newcastle, and he almost took that one to the house.
Well, the last time they had the ball, they used it for 3 minutes. Now they're doing it again. Beautiful hole. Opens up in the middle, and a run for daylight here. And Gary Schooley's got to have a little smile crease his face here as his team showing him something positive.
Ball at the 40, 1st and 10. 5:40 left. We're in this 2nd quarter of play. Central Bucks West on the lead at 28-0. All 4 touchdowns for Dustin Pishotti. 1, 1, 2, and 86 yards. Big, Cowart back, looking, throws, pass, dropped by Sheldon, rather, at the 32-yard line.
I'll tell you what, Cowart did a real nice job in just selling that.
I think Cowart got caught in between running it and passing it there, and the throw almost looked like an afterthought. As you see the rollout here, great job of holding on to the football, fooled everybody. Now watch, it just kind of throws it behind the receiver a little bit, and it's incomplete. Tough plays. I think he was thinking about running there, Mark, and instead changed his mind at the last moment.
Great job by the camera crew. It started out, we were looking right into the eyes of the linebacker from Central Bucks West, Greg Kinzel.
Great job by our WITF camera crew all weekend. They do the best job out there that you'll ever see.
Quick hitter that time for Gordon Austin as he slithers to the 35-yard line, a gain of 5. It'll be 4th and 5 upcoming now, or 3rd and 5 rather, for Newcastle.
Good counter action as the runner Austin gets through there, and you see Gary Schooley on the far side.
I'll tell you, these Newcastle kids run a fairly complex offensive system. I mean, you know, there's a lot of movement, a lot of misdirection, a lot of ball handling from the quarterback Coward. And they run it flawlessly, and they run it with speed and precision. This is a nice offensive scheme that Gary Schooley has.
3rd and 4, Newcastle now with 4:41 left. Quick hitter at Sheldon again into the secondary. A first down and more, and pops it to the 18 of Central Bucks West.
If this was the opening drive of the game, Gary Schooley would be absolutely ecstatic because he'd want his team to be controlling the clock, running the ball, getting first downs. That's what they're doing. But when you're down 28 points, it's a little harder. But at least it's something positive right now that they can start to build on for the second half.
Big 17-yard pickup for Justin Sheldon, 190-pound junior.
Lays the leather on you, too, when he puts you down at the final end of that run.
Sheldon, a gain of 17 to the 17 officially. 1st and 10. Coward under center, back, looking. Gonna roll now, he's gonna keep it and runs into Brian Buckley. Buckley's a hammer at the outside linebacker spot and gathers him up for no gain. Also in on the stop for West that time, Angelo Polina.
Yeah, watch number 9 here. Brian Buckley comes in from the left side of your screen. He kind of pinches in, fought off the block. Just a nice job by the outside linebacker, Brian Buckley, to contain the quarterback Coward, because he had a running lane, and he saw it, tried to take it, but Buckley shut it down.
2nd and 9 at the 16-yard line. Marker down.
81 red. Frank.
That's against Pat Kane. You heard him lining up in the neutral zone there, so that'll go against Newcastle. 5 more yards the other way. There's your time remaining. There's Pat Kane. I'll tell you what, Gary, we loved his look in March. This guy is a great basketball player. And Newcastle, one of the Western favorites this year in Quad A. They have really got a good team. David Young. I know a lot of people are watching, and they expect to be back to try and win it. They were runner-up last year to Harrisburg High. Back goes Coward. Throws it to Sheldon. Nobody home. He's got a clear path. Cut back 5-4. First down and goal to go at the 4 for Newcastle. And Coward is very clever back there, making things happen.
Well, watch what he does. He looks to the right. He fakes, looks to the right, draws the defense over, now throws back in the opposite direction of the screen pass, and watch Caldone heads off only one man to beat to the goal line. A well-conceived play as he gets the overcharging defense caught in that little screen pass.
I'll tell you what, that's great. That's a great call and great execution. Coward really sold the pitch, didn't he? He really sucked in the defense. That was a great job by Joe Coward, the quarterback, to sell that play.
That's why they won the West. This is a gritty drive right here. Coward back, looking. Now he's flushed out. He's still flying it around. Intercepted a pass he should not have thrown.
That's one you want to throw as far out of the end zone as you can. He was so eager to make something happen there that an ill-advised pass, and it gets intercepted. You talk about taking the wind out of the sails after a wonderful drive.
Yeah, and he knows it too. Joe Coward standing at the 30-yard line, hands on hips, head down right now, but Coward getting a whole lot of pressure in there. An ill-advised throw. It's picked off by Brian Callahan of Central Bucks West. Here you're going to get it from field level. Throws off his back foot, ill-advised. Callahan, the linebacker on the outside, steps in front of the receiver for the turnover.
They went to that play once too often, and Callahan made them pay.
9 plays, 5 more minutes out of the time possession, but you walk away empty-handed again if you're Newcastle.
Big hole, Pisciotti rumbling and stumbling to the 36-yard line. What a player he is. Mr. and Mrs. Pisciotti, you are going to receive mail from around the country.
Well, I believe he may just get that 2,000 yards here tonight. He needed 254 coming in. He had well over 100 in the first quarter of this ball game, and there he ripped off another long one. Dustin Pisciotti with 4 touchdowns this evening already.
There's Mike Pettin. Back goes Oriel. He's got a man wide open downfield, and he threw to the wrong one, out of bounds. Good play that time for Jeff Scrim, but Sean Michael Janssen was way downfield. The pass intended for Chris Ortiz.
This is a tough pass to throw when you're rolling the opposite direction for a right-hander. Then trying to set up, get your shoulders square, and he throws just a little bit behind the receiver. And good play down there by Newcastle.
Jeff Scrim came out of his cornerback spot. I'll tell you what, Oriel just put a little too much air underneath that one, gave Scrim a chance to come over and nearly pick off that pass.
2:46 to go in the opening half, and a marker comes down again. I wonder if it's a neutral zone. We've seen 2 of those so far. Let's see.
Go White.
Yep, that's exactly it. Lined up off sides.
I'm told Dustin Pisciotti is already up to 172 yards.
Dead ball.
So he needs about 82 more to
second down.
Yeah.
Get over 2,000.
He's already ripped off an 86-yard run.
There's that pass play that was
Second
nearly
down.
picked off. See, Oriel throws across his
stick.
body.
Throws off the back foot, too. There never really got his feet set. You can see the result there. Almost an interception.
Off screen, there was Sean Michael Janssen who was downfield, but that's easy for me to pick up when I'm
up here is a much better look than down there.
It'd be easy to play quarterback up here. Quick hitter Dave Edwards, big hole into the secondary. Look out! He's bringing it 30, home at the 20, 10-5, and it's a touchdown for Dave Edwards. 70 yards in an absolutely resounding performance in the opening half. 34-0 Central Bucks West.
Watch this.
Look at
Delayed handoff and then head for daylight. And Dave Edwards says, I like the looks of that goal line.
Try for point only.
I'll tell you what, the delayed handoff is especially lethal when you have the speed of a guy like Edwards, because the push that Central Bucks West gets from their offensive line of scrimmage pushes the Newcastle front 4 back on their heels. After Edwards gets past the linebackers, it's clear sailing.
All children out of the pool. 35-0. Central Bucks West.
2 plays, 28 seconds, 70 more yards, and this is a clinic. It's just a flat-out clinic. What else could you say?
They're the Central Bucks West fans. Yes, we're used to this. 30 wins in a row if this holds up. And right now, it's the safest bet in the house.
Kind of looks like an opera crowd over there. It's very blasé at the moment. It's very nice that we're scoring, guys, but
At halftime. Stays this way.
Winning is a habit at Central Bucks West.
You heard the referees. They were discussing the mercy rule, which comes into play after halftime. 35-0 is our score.
Head coach Mike Pettin picked up win number 300 with a 28-13 victory over Norristown back on September 25th. We'll talk about that later on in the game. It was very special to the players of this team to pick up that win for their head coach.
this isn't a team that's just come around in the 90s either. They won 55 straight games in the 80s, finally being beaten by Cardinal O'Hara. And, you know, Mike Pettin in true fashion said, you know, I'm kind of glad they beat us. He said they deserved to beat us, and they took it easy on us. You know, he's a really hard-nosed guy, but the kind of guy that his kids really come to play for every night, kind of filling in what you said there, Mark.
Well, no Quad A team has gone back-to-back. That is changing. This is one of the best teams I've seen in the state finals. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah, you know,
Dustin Elliott with it to the 32-yard line. Newcastle,
I've got to agree with you, Jed.
They get lost in the power. You know, the power of Central Bucks West. And this Newcastle team, a game team. They've done a lot of good things this evening, but they've come away empty-handed. They get lost when you look at Central Bucks West out there.
Don't be ashamed, because you're playing a legend right now. It's a legend in the making. This is as good as anybody can play in an opening half.
I'm looking down the list of the previous Quad A champions.
We've seen them all too, Mark. There's nothing that compares to what we've seen in this first 24 minutes.
You know, North Allegheny had a club. Cumberland Valley's 92 team was a dynamo. McKeesport, Downingtown in 96. But boy, oh boy.
The 96 Downingtown would be one.
Maybe. Dan Ellis at quarterback and Arlen Harris at tailback. That was a lethal combination.
But their down guys are nowhere close to to this as far as the experience and the power that is involved.
Well, and none of them scored every possession. 5 possessions in this game so far. 5 scores, 35 points. Unless you go for 2, I don't know how you beat that.
Yeah, there's no shame in getting knocked around by a team like this. This is a powerhouse here.
There's Street Fighters here in Newcastle. Pounded in there. There's one of the reasons why. This guy's 5'7". You gotta like this guy. Gordon Austin, 160 pounds, and he's in there chewing it up as best he can for a first down.
5'7".
44.
Yeah, 5'7", 160. And look at the heart of this guy. You know, follows his block very nicely, takes a tackler head on. You know, just no quit. And that, you know what? That can sum up the Newcastle season in 2 words. No quit. These guys have a ton of heart, and that's what got them here to Hershey.
All right, Gary, coach, right now I got to tap in. It's 35-0. You know, it's beginning to dawn on you at this point that you are out man-powered.
Well, that's absolutely right. And all you're trying to do again, find a way to score, and they might be trying right here.
He is tough, I'll tell you. Gordon Austin, 5'7", 160 pounds.
You've rolled some yards here in the second quarter. You've had 8 minutes of possession time. Problem is you've come away empty-handed twice. You were knocking on the door down there. It's just too little when you're looking at a steamroller at you on the other side.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you get down into the red zone, which Newcastle did on their last possession. You know, they came away with no points on the turnover. You know, but the knowledge that Central Bucks West, when they get the football, they score. I mean, you just can't keep up with that all night.
Joe Coward under center. They still have 3 timeouts to play with. Austin running well. Big Hole has 5, has 10, and another first down to the 35-yard line.
Gordon Austin looking a little bit more like Steve Austin right now, the $6 million man, as he rounds the corner for another sweep. Take a look.
I'll tell you what, Austin, 165 pounds. Look at the stick here. With collision between him and Blomberg. And I'll tell you what, Blomberg at 195 got the worst of that.
Yeah, Ron Blomberg, his brother Travis, by the way, Mark, is in the secondary mix at Penn State and is the scout team option quarterback for Joe Paterno. And he's got a nice future, only a junior. He was a quarterback a couple of years ago, a team that went all the way to the Eastern Final, I might add, before losing to that Downingtown team that we just talked about.
Yeah, that was an incredible team, the Downingtown team of 1996. Like we said, with Dan Ellis, who is now at Virginia. Arlen Harris, also at Virginia.
Ben Carver tonight will be joining them at Virginia.
I'm impressed with how hard the kids run right now from Newcastle, especially Austin. I mean, Austin lays a lick on you at the end of every run. And you've got to be impressed with the heart and soul of this team. But as impressed as you are with them, the other side's just been sterling throughout the evening. What would you say?
I'll tell you what this team has done for the whole town of Newcastle. You know, we talk about a team and its community, and the team and the community here are one. Newcastle and this football team. They have adopted this football team. There's a love affair. The week before the WPIAL championship game, Newcastle Athletic Director Angelo Fortunato got to his office at 7:30 in the morning, found 20 adults standing in line waiting to buy tickets for that championship game.
Pat Kane on the catch, still going all the way inside the 20 to the 17-yard line. It's a gain of 18 and a first down for Newcastle. Mark?
And he told these adults, he said, hey, you guys are waiting in line for tickets here. Don't you know that there are 60,000 seats in Three Rivers Stadium? You're probably going to get a seat. And they said, yeah, we know. We just want to make sure we're there. That's the enthusiasm this town has displayed for Newcastle football in 1998 as we look at Joe Coward hooking up with Pat Kane, his favorite receiver.
They're well-conceived offensive principles for this Newcastle team. You've got to be impressed.
University of Toledo and Connecticut have looked at Kane as a football player, but he's probably climbing the charts a little bit as a senior. If he could go to 250 or 260, he would be on a lot of radar screens at the next level.
Well, he just might too. With that frame, I'd be able to put some weight on him in the college ranks.
Gary, you really liked his basketball game an awful lot, as you did with Newcastle last year. You've got David Young, who's recent signee, going to Xavier, and they are the Western favorite in Quad A on the hardwood.
Well, Pat Kane's got to be wondering what happened. He runs into a steamroller in Harrisburg High last year that put on a clinic over here in the arena next door. And now he says, I come back in here and I get to see CB West, and they're doing the same thing to me. What the heck's going on?
That's right. He's staring at the outside of the building where he played last March.
Sure, he's willing to try his luck at a third trip down here, Gary.
Well, he'll give it a good long shot, and they're one of the favorites out west this year. And I'll tell you what, to get here and play in these games is no small bit of change either.
Well, they reversed a lot of bad luck recently. Coward, oh, no Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Down he goes in an undertow at the 24. And another loss, and they're going to have to burn a timeout with 33 seconds to go in this opening half.
Brian Buckley, the linebacker, comes shooting through on the blitz. Just got cowered by the jersey. Good enough to slow him up and record a sack.
They got a lot of weapons.
They sure do.
Well, they've been able to find Kane in that little seam pass a couple times tonight. You would think that maybe they'd come back to that again. That's been covering for 12, 13, 14 yards every time they've thrown it to him. So look for him to maybe come back and find Pat Kane right there in the middle.
You're Mike Pettin. And you play up to your potential in this environment. How gratifying is that? I mean, you still know you've got a second half, but that has to be, as a coach, one of the greatest feelings in the world when you take a team, one that is much ballyhooed, one that is much publicized, and then just puts on an absolute clinic.
Well, there's two thoughts that go with that. Number one, you live for the moment where your team steps to another level. Tonight, Mike Pettin's team may have stepped to another level. One of the raps on him during the season was they lost focus every now and then. That certainly could not be said here this evening. But the second thing, knowing Mike Pettin, what he'll do the second half, he'll go in and find something at halftime they haven't done well. Probably a missed block here, a missed block there. The kids will be absolutely astounded. But he'll say, the second half, guys, we want to bring this thing home in style, and that's what he'll talk about.
Well, he called a timeout to work things over on his defense, and obviously, whatever message he did, it got through. Newcastle with one timeout remaining now is facing 3rd and long. About 15 or 16 yards. It's all the way back at the 24. Clock continuing to go, 15 seconds. They're going to try and get, they know they have the timeout, and he throws it incomplete. They'll have one more crack at it. 4th and 16 now from the 24.
The problem that you have is your offense has been perfect the first half. You've had 5 possessions, 5 scores, and so now what he's saying to the defense, you've got to match the offense's intensity so far, and maybe he doesn't feel that that's been happening to this point in the game.
Yeah, that may be the sticking point right now. I mean, if there is a burr in the saddle of Mike Pettin right now, which, you know, it doesn't appear there are many problems, but yeah, you're right. Newcastle has moved the ball fairly liberally between the 30s.
Coaches expect mistakes, but strive for perfection, and there it is.
Mr. Pettin's message may have gotten through fairly clearly on these last 3 downs.
Angelo Polina on the sack, change of possession, 2 seconds left to go, and well, if you're looking for perfection as a head coach, Mike Pettin may have just found some of it in that opening 24 minutes. As good a football team as I've seen in this environment, Mark, in our state.
Yeah, I echo those thoughts completely, Jed. I mean, this is just a dominating performance, and I'll tell you what, this is a darn good Newcastle team that's getting knocked around here at the Hershey Park Stadium, because you know, Newcastle got fought through the WPIAL, had a couple of huge wins throughout the season. I mean, you know, we talk about that big early season win against North Allegheny, beat the North Allegheny team 13-7. That kind of put a stamp on this team, and they rode that all the way to Hershey. But wow, what a buzzsaw they've run into here in CB West.
Mike Oriole will go to a knee, and that's it for the first half.
3 possessions for Newcastle in the first half, 10 minutes and 31 seconds. But the most important number it shows on the board, they have none, 35 for Central Bucks West.
We've come to halftime. Central Bucks West on their way to gold in Quad A. Perfection, 35-0 Bucks, playing very much like a top 10 team nationally, and maybe even better, maybe top 5. We go to break. We'll be back with more after this.
The PIAA is a Pennsylvania nonprofit corporation organized on a membership basis. Membership includes most of the public and many private high schools in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The PIAA develops and enforces rules which are authorized by the member schools to regulate interscholastic athletic competition. The PIAA was formed in 1913 by a group of high school principals to establish uniform rules, eliminate abuses, and place interscholastic athletics in the overall context of secondary education. The purposes of the PIAA are defined in Article 2 of its Constitution. They are to organize, develop, and direct an interscholastic athletic program which will promote, protect, and conserve the health and physical welfare of all participants, to formulate and maintain policies that will safeguard the educational values of interscholastic athletics and cultivate the high ideals of good sportsmanship, and to promote uniformity of standards in all interscholastic athletic competition. The PIAA believes that the student-athlete is best served by a system which emphasizes the amateur, educational, and character-building aspects of high school sports, a system which recognizes that athletics is not the driving force, but rather that students are in school primarily to obtain an education. The membership of the PIAA consists of approximately 1,300 schools, divided almost equally between senior high schools and junior high middle schools. Of that membership, approximately 150 are private schools. Nearly 250,000 students participate in interscholastic athletics under the PIAA each year, placing Pennsylvania 7th in the United States for the 1997-98 school year.
17 points per game.
The four major areas in which the PIAA currently operates are the following: establishment and enforcement of rules governing the eligibility of high school athletes to participate in interscholastic athletics. These include rules for academic performance, attendance requirements, transfer students, pre-participation physical evaluations, age, and amateur status. Organizing and operating 27 post-regular season playoffs and championships in 10 girls sports, and 31 post-regular season playoffs and championships in 11 boys sports. Adopting the playing rules for each sport under its jurisdiction, with the exception of bowling, golf, girls lacrosse, rifle, and tennis. All other playing rules adopted by the PIAA are published by the National Federation of State High School Associations, of which the PIAA has been a member since 1925. Registering and training officials to officiate at contests in which the PIAA member schools participate. Nearly 13,000 officials are currently registered with the PIAA. The PIAA's principal source of revenue is the sale of tickets to its playoffs and championships. Gate receipts enable the PIAA to operate without taxpayer financing. The PIAA also provides services to its members on a day-to-day basis through its headquarters in Upper Allen Township, Cumberland County, near Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. The PIAA assists member schools and families by providing the student-athlete with opportunities for achievement.
You're watching PIAA Championship Football on PCN, the Pennsylvania Cable Network, a public service of Pennsylvania Cable Television Companies. PCN is supported in part by your local cable TV company. Live coverage of the 1999 Pennsylvania Farm Show begins Saturday, January 9th on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. Watch the championship rodeo, swine judging, horse and pony pulling contests, sheep-to-shawl competitions, and many other events capturing the flavor of Pennsylvania's premier agricultural showcase. Around-the-clock coverage of the 1999 Pennsylvania Farm Show begins January 9th on PCN. Visit factories, museums, and other interesting places in Pennsylvania every week on PCN. A PCN tour takes you inside Pennsylvania's industry and history. PCN tours Wendell August Forge. Craftsmen at this Grove City operation have been handcrafting metal giftware since 1923. Sunday night at 8. This week on PA Books, Jim O'Brien, author of We Had 'Em All the Way, the story of Bob Prince, former sportscaster for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Sunday night at 9. PCN profiles Pennsylvania State Treasurer Barbara Hafer, Sunday night at 10. You're watching PCN, the Pennsylvania Cable Network, a public service of Pennsylvania Cable Television Companies. PCN is supported by Suburban Cable TV, serving cable subscribers in Bensalem and the Delaware County. Homework Help on PCN airs throughout the school year. During this live 2-hour interactive program, students in grades 1 through 12 may call in to ask math and science questions. State-certified teachers will actively work through the problem with the student.
So what's 6 times 8?
48.
48. And what is 3 times 10?
30.
Homework Help on PCN airs Sundays at 5 p.m. Montgomery Montgomery County Community College is offering college credit courses for the 1999 spring semester on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. Time to Grow is an introductory course on child growth and development from birth through adolescence. Discovering Psychology examines the fundamental principles of psychology, such as behavior, intelligence, and therapies. Living with Health focuses on fitness, diet, illness, injuries, and substance abuse. It's Strictly Business is an introduction to the world of business on a national and international scale. Faces of Culture is a cultural anthropology course studying the structure and process of culture. The American Adventure details the historical periods from Columbian contact to the Civil War and Reconstruction. Destinos is an introduction to Spanish, teaching speaking, listening, and comprehension skills. And the Western Tradition, a history course spanning the Middle Ages through the Renaissance. These telecourses begin Monday, February 8th on PCN. To enroll, contact Montgomery County Community College at 1-888-636-MCCC. The Pennsylvania Cable Network's commitment to public affairs reaches beyond television. PCN's homepage puts you in touch with state government. PCNTV.com provides citizens with information about PCN's programming. Users can access our nightly program schedule, browse PCN Vision, or check out information on PCN's weekly tours, books, and profiles. Through PCNTV.com, you can also access legislation, find out when hearings are scheduled, or send email to your legislators. The homepage provides users with links to dozens of worldwide websites relating to Pennsylvania public affairs. The PCN homepage is free and available to anyone with access to the World Wide Web. Our address is www.pcntv.com. The Pennsylvania Press Club is a monthly luncheon series featuring key lawmakers, newsmakers, and policymakers. Luncheons are held on the fourth Monday of the month at the Tuesday Club in Harrisburg and can be seen in their entirety on PCN. Next month's Pennsylvania Press Club luncheon will feature Bill Giles, chairman of the Philadelphia Phillies, Thursday, January 25th at 9 p.m. Check PCN's website for more information and upcoming luncheon guests. You're watching PCN, the Pennsylvania Cable Network, a public service of Pennsylvania cable television companies. PCN is supported by Adelphia Cable Entertainment, serving cable subscribers in Bethel Park, Mount Lebanon, Mount Oliver, and West Mifflin. Do you have a question you want answered?
What has been done to the people purchasing this dump steel, if anything, and do we know who these folks are?
How much money are these HMOs paying to these legislators?
Leaders, journalists, policymakers, and pundits take your calls on PCN's call-in program. The Pennsylvania Cable Network, giving viewers a choice. Call in to PCN Thursday nights at 7. PIAA Championships exclusively on PCN. This is PCN's scheduled coverage of PIAA Championship events for 1999. game is paid for by PCN and your local cable TV system.
Hershey Park Stadium, your host for the 1998 PIAA State Football Championships. What we have just witnessed over the opening 24 minutes is probably the best football team in the 11 years of this tournament in Quad A. PIAA presenting an association with PCN. Viewers on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. First time historical that we have gone statewide for this particular tournament in our return to Chocolatetown. Some of the numbers, it's all slanted one way as you would expect. How did we get to 35-0? Well, Central Bucks West, 313 yards. Dustin Pisciotti, 15 carries for 172, 86 of which went on one run. And Dave Edwards had a 70-yard run, 5 carries for 133. Newcastle, 148 total yards. They've shown some spunk, but they're just not enough manpower here. The interception by Joe Coward stalled their deepest drive of the football game. Mark, some of these first half highlights will start and accentuate the offensive front for Central Bucks West.
Yeah, we're
as good an offensive line as you're going to see on the high school level.
Yeah, those gaudy offensive numbers, they're the product of what you're seeing right now. A good push up front, off the ball, off the line of scrimmage. These guys are just blowing it out up front. And here we're going to see the first touchdown of the ball game. This is Dustin Pisciotti, a 1-yard plunge. Caps an 11-play, 71-yard drive at the 7:04 mark of quarter number 1. Much more to come for Central Bucks West. Watch this. Pisciotti takes the handoff, starts the sweep left, changes hands with the ball, and a couple of guys have the angle on him. But he's going to go 86 yards. Potential tackler tries to dive. That's how you have to tackle a 240-pound Dustin Pisciotti. You got to get him low, but look at the footwork down the sidelines as Pisciotti makes it 14-0 with 3:43. The 3:43 mark at quarter number 1. Here we go again. Pisciotti's third touchdown. This is a 1-yard plunge to make it 21-0 early in the second quarter. And Mr. Pisciotti, or Mr. Touchdown, if you will, another TD on a 2-yard plunge. Look at Pisciotti, 240 pounds, just pulling his way into the end zone. That was a 4-play, 36-yard drive, took 2 minutes and 2 seconds off the clock. Then, final touchdown of the first half of play. This is Dave Edwards, little sugar and spice action. Some quickness to the outside. Dave Edwards gets a block, and he's gone 70 yards for pay dirt. That occurred at the 2:33 mark of quarter number 2 as Dave Edwards gives Central Bucks West the commanding 35-0 lead. All CB West highlights in this first half of play of the Quad A championship game from the Hershey Park Stadium. 35-0 CB West over Newcastle at the half.
Let's check in with Gary Sutton, with the executive director of the PIAA, Mr. Brad Cashman, down on the field right now. Gary?
Thanks a lot, guys. It is truly my honor to have Brad Cashman, the executive director of the PIAA, here with me at halftime. And Brad, first of all, congratulations on an outstanding tournament. It has to be a very, very gratifying weekend for you and your staff.
This has been a great weekend. Of course, the weather's cooperated tremendously, but this is simply an event this year. It's a full atmosphere. We're very pleased with the things that Hershey has done. They put on a great show for us, and of course we have some fine football games for this weekend, so we're very happy.
Brad, I know in addition to all the things going on this weekend, you've been involved in a lot of meetings here. The Board of Control's been in session. I know there's been a lot in the newspapers and the media about all that. Tell us a little bit about what's been going on as far as addressing some of the regulations or some of the suggestions for regulations that's been passed down by the legislature.
Well, we started off on Thursday night with a policy review committee meeting in which the review committee went through each of the 18 recommendations from the Senate committee, special committee, and took a look at those and decided where they should pigeonhole each item. We looked at 4 general categories: Constitution, bylaws, rules and regulations, and policy. The Board of Control then met on Friday morning at 7:30 a.m. until approximately 11:30, and again this morning. And as a result of those meetings, we have a special Board of Control meeting scheduled for Saturday, January 9th, in which the entire Board of Control is going to look at each item and decide how to best handle those recommendations, which ones are certainly doable and feasible, and which ones we're going to have some difficulty implementing, if not impossibility, and possibly implementing at all. The one thing that I think is important to note is that some of the recommendations do implicate the Constitution, and as most people understand, constitutional amendments can only be made by a vote of the member schools.
Brad, one of the things that certainly people are thinking about this weekend, we've read in the paper, the call for your resignation. The Board of Control, have you gotten a feel from them this weekend on where they stand on that particular issue?
I think the Board of Control made it very clear that I have their confidence. They are confident in the job the executive staff has done and their executive director. We are moving forward with the fact that we're still going to be taking care of business as usual. Certainly these recommendations the Board of Control is going to take very seriously, and those that of course we can implement and will better the organization, we certainly will do so. But as far as the Board of Control is concerned, this has been a weekend in which they have given me a vote of confidence without any question at all.
Brad, one of the things that I saw in the paper the other day, you were called arrogant. We've known you for a number of years. We know you're pretty confident. I don't know if arrogant's quite the word we would use to describe you for the people of Pennsylvania. Is arrogant a word that describes you?
I don't think arrogant is a proper term at all. I think confidence is one of the things that I have not lacked. I've been confident as a student athlete, both in high school and college. I've been confident as a coach, as an official, and certainly my conference administrator, I think, speaks for itself.
And I know you're one of the guys here that's always set good parameters for us at the state championships in terms of knowing what you can do and what you can't do, and I think maybe that ruffles some feathers now and then.
Well, anytime you tell someone no, they're going to accuse you of being a lot of things. And one of the things that we try to do is tell people no in a polite, professional way. We say a lot of yeses to a lot of people, but occasionally you have to say no. When you have to say no, that's when you get the name calling. So we try to do our job the best we can, and if the answer is no, the answer is no.
Well, Brad, I know there's a lot of rough spots that go on sometimes. Everybody's going to have their peaks and valleys, and there's always going to be something to improve on. But certainly as you look around at this championship tonight and what's going on throughout the weekend, you can be nothing but proud of your efforts. Again, a class job by you, your staff, and all volunteers.
Thank you, Gary. We have a great staff, and I want to give credit to not only my staff. I have, of course, Bob Lombardi, Associate Director, Elliot Hopkins, Assistant, Melissa Nash, our new assistant, did a great job for us. The 6 months with us. Our support staff in the office, Doris Hobbs, Bev Owens, Sherry Dean, Linda Rudisil, Anita Fox, and Deb Alford. They've all done a great job throughout these very difficult months, and I want to thank them very much from the bottom of my heart.
And Brad, it all starts at the top with leadership, and it's an honor to talk to you. You keep providing the leadership that really makes the PIAA move.
Thank you, Gary. It's very much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. And now back up to Jed and Mark.
All right, 35-0 as we get ready to start this third quarter, and we're delighted to have the chairman of the board of the Hershey Entertainment and Resort Company, Mr. J. Bruce McKinney. You're going to sit in with us here for a little while. How are you, sir?
I'm just great. It's a great night
Get
for
on
football.
that stick here. Wait, hang on just a second. I think you're up now.
Okay, Jed, it's a great night for football. We're having a great crowd, and we're ready to go with the second half.
Well, you have to be thrilled with how it has gone in the return since 1991. You were blessed with good weather, football-type weather, and I know you're going to kind of evaluate things, and knowing you, I know you say the bar is raised, and you're going to raise it, I think, even further for everybody next year.
Exactly, Jed. In Hershey, where the bar literally has been raised, we're proud to host this outstanding event. We're trying to create a bowl-like atmosphere, and with great crowds and with great weather and with really excellent football games for the last couple of days. We are just so proud to be the host.
And you've got to be pleased with the turnout from the Newcastle folks. I mean, you know, that's about as far away as you can get in the state, and here they come from exit 1A of the Turnpike all the way down here to Hershey. They were here in March to root their basketball team on, and they've got to have 5,000 people here this evening.
It's just outstanding. When you see community support, it's high school football, athletics, and athletes like they do, it's just outstanding. A lot of credit to the Newcastle fans and to all the teams really that have traveled here.
Well, I know your staff, Scott Mullen in particular, who manages the arena and the stadium, has been working endlessly to, you know, coordinate this whole effort here.
They've done an outstanding job, and my hats are off to that great staff.
And there's the opening kickoff, kind of a pop-up. Newcastle will take over at the 33. Well, I know you like your football. That was as good a 24-minute blitz as you're going to see somebody put on. That was scintillating.
Central Bucks West is truly a football machine. And, you know, Newcastle is not a bad football team. It's just the fact that Central Bucks is just so outstanding.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, sometimes you just run into a buzzsaw, and that's what Newcastle is faced with here.
Exactly.
Opening minute, Joe Cowart going under center, 1st and 10 at the 33. This young man has run very hard. That's Gordon Austin, and he runs rough shot into Brian Buckley again. He's been all over the place, along with Angelo Polina.
That Gordon Austin, number 27, he's only 160 pounds. And I mean, he plays like he's 250. Look at this, head down, takes the pop from the linebacker, but tries to keep his legs moving and try to gain some more positive yardage. That's a lot of heart there from number 27.
Very crisp tackling.
Excellent tackling from
Mr. McKinney, I know you've always, when you see these guys in high school, there's so much history in here. It's like a who's who in sports. I know you'll be keeping track of some of these guys to see how they do down the road.
No question. We all remember Tony Dorsett.
Third down, guys. Third down.
In the Big 33 game.
Big 33 over the years. Be back here next summer and the like. You've set records this year, haven't you? Candy Lane, this warm weather and the like. I mean, it's been spectacular for you this winter.
The company as a whole, and Hershey Park in particular, has had an outstanding record year. It's just been great. Candy Lane has been drawing extremely well, and obviously with crowds like this, we're just very pleased.
35-0, 3rd and 4 now for Newcastle. Quick handoff again. They whip it into Gordon Austin. He's got nowhere to go, nowhere to hide, and in on the tackle is Brian Colohan.
And of course, Hershey played host to one of the most historic occurrences in sports ever. Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point night right across the way at the Hershey Park Arena.
Exactly. 450,000 people were there that night to see that.
Yeah, there were 4,000, but 1 million people claim to have been there now.
Exactly.
All related to people who came over in the Mayflower.
March 4th, 1962 against the New York Knicks.
Good punt by Kane. Whoa. Fielded and dropped, and getting dumped is Sean Michael Janssen. Well, there was a lot of, you know, politics, Hershey getting it. You've always taken pride in having scholastic type events. You've hosted District 3 events before. You aggressively went after it, and you have to be pleased with the result. I know you're in for the long haul, as long as it takes and whatever it takes.
Exactly, Jed. We went after it fairly, openly, honestly, and we are very pleased to have been awarded it. We're going to keep it as long as we can.
1st and 10 for Central Bucks West. In an opening half, there's another big run. Going to see some new blood in here, fresh legs, and Chris Ortiz.
Central Bucks West has set the bar pretty high here so far. 5 possessions, 5 scores. So the pressure's really on here in the second half to open up with a score, and that's 6 possession. By the way, the last possession for Newcastle, the fourth of the game, 2 minutes and 14 seconds. That ups their number right now to 16 minutes and 30 seconds, but no score on the board.
Nice to see Chris Ortiz get a carry. Serious knee injury in preseason, missed much of the year. But here he is at the state finals in Hershey, getting a carry, trying to lead his team to victory.
Good hitter up the middle. I believe that's Pisciotti for a gain of about a yard or two.
And this Newcastle crowd is still into it, isn't it?
Yeah,
they're here en masse. They're going to sit around and enjoy the... I mean, they broke a lot of trends. They won their first WPIAA championship since 1973. I mean, you get this far into the draw, Gary, something we've talked about. There are no losers, and I mean, we mean that literally. It's a trite statement, but it has an awful lot of meaning to it.
Well, plus you get into this atmosphere here in Hershey. It's like a celebration year-round. And you get here and you're playing, you're doing your best, but someone's going to walk out here with a losing score, someone with a winning score, both with their heads held high.
There's Pisciotti, first down and more. Goodbye. Here he is, bringing it 20. Pouring it on at the 10, and it's a touchdown. His fifth of the night. It's 41-0 Central Bucks West.
A 64-yard scamper for Pisciotti for his fifth touchdown. 6 possessions, 6 scores. Hey, the score continues here in terms of the music that CB West is playing.
Who is your mailman? You are going to be busy.
Point only. Rapid point only.
The next great player in Pennsylvania.
You're looking at him.
All by himself.
He's just a junior, is that right?
Yeah,
scary, isn't
that
it?
is the scary part.
Awesome player.
You know, he's 240 pounds, and he can move down that field as quick as any 240-pounder I have seen.
Bob Tumulty, he's been busy swinging the right gate for the extra point. Bang. 8:01 to go. Wow. It's 42-0 Central Bucks West, and I believe we had that in ISO. We put Pisciotti kind of under the eye.
3 plays.
Look at him.
3 plays, 72 yards, a minute 45. Pisciotti with 5 touchdowns out of the 6. What an evening.
Here he is, one-on-one for you.
He's going to get the call. It's a very simple play. Just over the tackle, right tackle. And the holes are so big that Pisciotti just has excellent speed. Once he gets past the linebackers, he's off to the races.
And the landing gear comes down. He's cleared for takeoff. Goodbye.
17 carries, 237 yards. What do we say? He needs 252 to get to 2,000 tonight.
That's when they'll pull the plug on his evening to a standing O.
I do believe.
Well, you know, this is the same offensive line, basically, that enabled Central Bucks West to gain over 500 yards as a team, on the ground, mind you, last year in the Quad A championship game in their 44-20 beating of Upper St. Clair. So, you know, you know what? You talk to the Central Bucks West people, and they really do feel that this team is a better club than last year's championship team.
Which is a mouthful, because we were most impressed last year, 44-20 against Upper St. Clair. Fair catch called for at the 29. Mr. McKinney, a couple questions real quick.
Sure.
You got wrestling, team wrestling, and basketball, and I know you're committed long-term to keeping those over at the Hershey Park Arena as well. You feel that with the tradition that you've developed here with all sports, you kind of want to be the central focus point.
That's right. We feel all the roads lead to Hershey. First of all, with basketball, then with wrestling. Obviously, soccer is holding their state finals here, and now with football, we really feel that we want to be the crossroads of Central Pennsylvania sports finals.
1st and 10 right now for Newcastle. It's been a while since we've seen Justin Sheldon get the carry all the way up to the 35. You and this company take great pride, don't you, as far as hosting the youth and kind of being in the epicenter of this whole experience over the, you know, just not only these couple of days, but really year-round, don't you?
Jed, we truly do. We try to make certain that the experience that everyone that comes here is a good one. Both from a spectator standpoint and from a family standpoint, and certainly from a player standpoint. We try our very best to make the product the very best we can.
Well, thank you for stopping in. I cannot say enough how much we appreciate what you and your staff have done to make our whole situation a big peel-off run this time for John Rosati at a Newcastle first down. But again, thank you very much, sir. It's been a wonderful weekend and a great start.
Thank you, Jed, for the outstanding job you've all done, and we'll look forward to seeing you in wrestling and basketball.
You got it. We'll be here soon enough.
Keep her going,
holidays.
gentlemen. Happy
Jay
holidays,
Bruce McKinney, the chairman of the board of the Hershey Entertainment and Resort Company, joining us live, and we'll get Jim Catafio down here in a little bit. First down at midfield. Well, guys, it's time to start putting this game and this team into historical perspective, something we were doing a little bit in the first half. I just ask it flat out, is the best team in the 11-year run of the PIAA state championships? I think it is.
Well, yeah, that was certainly.
Pass to Gordon Austin. He's quick, 5'7". Hiccup quick to the 27-yard line, and another Newcastle first down. These guys are still in there scrapping it out.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Gordon Austin has guts to burn, 160 pounds. And look at him, he's cutting right across the middle. That's linebacker free safety territory. You know, you get across the middle there and you're going to get popped. He doesn't care. He's 160 pounds. He's looking for that football, looking to pick up a first down for his team. That's the kind of guts and heart you like in a football player.
Appreciate the visit with Jay Bruce McKinney. Now Jim Catafio joins us, head coach at Wilson High School, and one of our high school experts that we've been talking to this weekend. Another carry and a good positive gain for John Rosati. I give these Newcastle kids an awful lot of credit. They're really up against a juggernaut tonight, Jim. I think it's the best team I've seen in 11 years in Quad A. They're unbelievable.
I would have to agree. Last year we had the opportunity to pull up against Central Bucks West, and they are so much better this year. They're bigger and stronger. I think they're a more well-rounded football team on both sides of the ball this year.
And you know what, Coach? The great All-State lineman Carver went down in the first series. They really haven't missed him. John Bear came in, is doing a great job. I mean, you lose an All-State lineman like that in your first series in the championship game, that may spell trouble for a lot of teams.
Most high school programs losing an All-State first-teamer would feel the crunch, not Central Bucks West. That just shows you the depth that they have, and this is why they're as good as they are.
Amazing.
You know, Mike Patton, I mean, you can put 9, 10 guys in the box. They run the same playbook year in, year out. They just change the names, but why does it work as well as it does?
Well, they're using a variety of formations, and they really put you at a major disadvantage. And the key is, Jed, you can't match up physically, and Mike Patton knows that. And as long as he knows that he's going to keep coming at you, they don't have to throw the football. They're very multiple. I know people don't think it, but they're very multiple in their offensive formations on how they try to outnumber you on both sides of the ball.
Newcastle with the first down right here, but Coach, they line up so tight. You know, normally you see that tailback on most teams 6, 7 yards deep. On this team, it's 3, 4 yards behind you. Everything's tight, hard to see, I would think, for the linemen.
Well, it's impossible. They got offensive linemen that average 6'3", 260, 280, and 300 pounds for the defense, who most people are average size. You can't see the ball carrier in that. It's like a rugby match.
Joe Coward under center. It's 1st and 10 at the 10. Motion man is Sheldon. Back goes Coward looking under the gun into the end zone, incomplete. And I mean, they were pushing the envelope. Coming on the blitz, Brian Buckley. They just seem to have the right play on at the right time. I mean, you say sometimes luck follows preparation, but there's no luck involved in this.
They might have the best coaching staff in the state of Pennsylvania go along with the best group of kids in the state of Pennsylvania. When you put everything together, Mike Patton, we all know, is legendary, might be the top football coach in the history of the state of Pennsylvania, but he has a staff that's second to none, and he has a program second to none.
There you're looking at Buckley. He's played a whale of a game at the linebacker spot for CB West tonight.
Coward on a keeper, and he's sacked back at the 14. That's interesting when you say a great coach and a great program. What makes Mike Patton stand out, in your opinion? Knowing you've gone against him, I mean, what makes him such a standout?
He's a disciplinarian. I mean, when you meet Mike Patton, when you meet him, you know, just by talking to the gentleman. He's so straightforward, and he gets his kids to play the same way. They play very physical, they play smart, and they're very disciplined, and they play the game the way it's supposed to be played, in between the lines, and you don't ever see a Central Bucks West kid coming up celebrating and putting on any nonsense on the field.
Act like you've been there before, as they would say. This pass complete on the outside. I believe that's Corey Lemon. It is. Lemon, a 6'2", 180-pound junior. As far as Newcastle, now, first WPIAL title since 1973. I say discard outcome tonight. It's something you build on.
This is a great experience for the Newcastle program. They knew they were coming in here, and the chances of beating Central Bucks West were not very good. But let's not let this game destroy a great season and the start of a good program at Newcastle.
Pass is caught on the outside by Rosati, and there's a wave led by Brian Buckley again. Gary?
Well, Coach, when you think that 4 years ago they were 0-10 in the first year of Coach Schooler, and now here they are in the state championship game, what a long way they've come. And you look at this team tonight, they've taken some hunks of yardage, they've controlled the clock at times, it just hasn't been a chance to finalize this evening.
You want to know something? Anybody else but Central Bucks West in this football game, and they're in the football game.
Exactly.
Man, we're seeing a superhuman football team across the field, and I don't care if you had the NCAA Division II football program here tonight. Central Bucks West is a cut above the rest.
And you know something, Coach, what has to be really pleasing to the Newcastle football coaching staff is that they've generated a resurgence of football in Newcastle. It's a great program throughout the 70s. Schooley played on the 1970 team, a graduate of Newcastle in 1971. And now, you know, the team has taken, this town rather, has taken this team to heart once again. And football is very important to Newcastle once again. And it's due to Schooley and this 1998 team and this run to Hershey.
Just listen to the fans here right now. Even though they're losing this football game 42-0 on every great play Newcastle has, it's a roar coming from the stands.
Well, right now you're in the midst of a 10-play, 6-minute and 4-second drive again, and yet you still have that chance to get into the end zone. They haven't done it yet.
First and 10. Real interesting formation. There's another big gain for Central Bucks West. Oh, they just keep coming at you. That's Bill Stone.
Backup quarterback.
You know, when you talk about, you coach at Wilson, and you know you're in the eastern half of the draw, do you know that there are programs out there that if you want to get to this particular level that you've got to, one, either be like, or you've got to at least have some pieces like them?
Last year when we made it to the state playoffs at Wyoming Valley West, I was so happy that we played Central Bucks West in the Wilkes-Barre area so the people from the Cole region could see what big-time Quad A football is all about and what you need to do to compete. You know, you can talk about the great teams of Berwick and so forth, but there's a major difference when you step up to the plate in Quad A football. And you know, in Pennsylvania, especially in the East, you will never get to the state championship game unless you can beat Central Bucks West head-to-head.
Well, Coach, when coaches go out to plan a championship program, and it comes in stages, don't they also have to kind of plan for a system that's going to beat the very best teams out there that they're going to play? You know, anybody can do things if you have great talent and beat the bad teams. It's beating the best teams that you really have to talk about. The different styles of doing it, though, in football. You know, you might pass, this guy runs the ball. It certainly has got to be a challenge when you step up to find that method to beat the best teams in the state.
Well, right now you got to understand it. To beat Central Bucks West, you have to match them on the line of scrimmage, and that is the most difficult part. How they keep coming up with such big, strong individuals is incredible. As a high school coach, you sit here and you can't, it's amazing, all those big individuals out there. But until you can match them on the line of scrimmage, you will not beat them.
You know what I noticed in warm-ups tonight? I saw the Newcastle kids looking over and watching Central Bucks work out, and I mean, they're going, look at that appliance over there. Look at this guy, the size. It's intimidating, and I think they got into their head before they even went in to prepare a little bit. Come to the end of the third quarter of play. I want you to further that thought a little bit. I want to remind you as we head to the fourth quarter, the PIAA presents, in association with PCN, viewers on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. This has been a historic weekend for us here in Hershey and the return to the PIAA Football Championships for the first time since 1991. All the games going live on PCN all weekend long, and the tradition will continue with the team championships in the month of March for wrestling, and then we'll have these parade of champions in wrestling, and then Gary's favorite event, the 8 games, 4 girls, 4 boys in basketball in late March. And we'll have all of them for you on PCN. And again, it's just awesome as always, working with our WITF production in partnership with the PIAA and PCN. Go back to that question I was asking you. They looked, they saw, and went, wow.
I can only go back to last year, the first time that I've ever seen Central Bucks West in person. You're exactly right. When we took a look at them on the field, we were intimidated. And there's no doubt, Jed, I will guarantee that Newcastle tonight, when they came out, were looking at Central Bucks, and there was definitely an intimidation factor.
Mike Oriole here, again, a work in progress, a sophomore, Mark, but a good look off on the screen.
Yeah, Mike Oriole, he's a fine throwing quarterback, even though Mike Pettin doesn't like to put the ball in the air. Like he says, we can throw. Mike Oriole's a very fine quarterback, just a sophomore, and when games get kind of out of hand, Mike Pettin will give Oriole 10 to 15 throws per ball game, and Oriole, he is a very fine quarterback. He's got a bright future ahead of him, just a sophomore.
Now Bill Stone back in.
One advantage that Central Bucks West has is over the years they have some big scores in their games, and a lot of their underclassmen get a lot of valuable playing time on Friday and in the playoffs.
Coach Cantafio, you know, each coach has kind of a pet peeve that they look at. I'm sure there are things in your program you look at a little bit more than other things. Obviously, in this program, Coach Pettin looks at blocking above all else.
Well, I mean, his #1 goal is to run the football. And you want to know something, though, they can throw it exceptionally well, and they have over the years. But I'm telling you, when they school their kids and they develop their kids in the offseason, blocking is #1, tackling is #2. Because if they can execute both very well, they're going to win a lot of football games.
Everybody loves the blitz of the passing game and the thing, but I mean, you run for dough in this game, period. I mean, you can't run, you don't win. It's that simple. As Buckley charges forward, another big gain and another first down, a gain of 12, all the way to the Newcastle 33. Clock moving with 10:30 to go, but you've got to run the ball.
All 4 state champions this year dominated on the line of scrimmage running the football. The passing game really has been non-existent in all 4 football games, and you're exactly right. You have to be able to run the football to win a state championship in the state of Pennsylvania.
Well, I'm talking to a guy who likes to throw that ball.
And you're exactly right, but I realize that too, and I know being there one time, if we were able to run the ball in the second half, we would have had the state title, but we weren't.
We saw Gordon Austin sitting on the bench over there for Newcastle, a young man who's played very, very hard tonight, runs hard, lays the leather on you at the end of the run. Get a feeling he might be back here again next year.
Well, they get a little taste of this, and sometimes when you leave here, and you know you've been to the state title games, when you leave here tonight, the one thing in the back of your mind is, I want to get back. What do I have to do to get back?
You know, Newcastle may be back here, but Gordon Austin will not be. He's a senior. He'll be moving on after this year. And again, the tears when you know that this is your last game, and this is not the way that you wanted to leave the stadium.
1st and 5 for West now at the 27-yard line. It's Ortiz trying to get to the outside, picking his way, and the undertow finally catches up at the 28-yard line. It's a continuous clock with a mercy rule. It's a 42-0 game. Central Bucks West, 5 touchdowns for Dustin Pisciotti. Pisciotti, junior, stud, mailman, get ready. He's going to be busy.
Last year they had Armstrong, who was the top player in the state of Pennsylvania last year. Dustin Pisciotti last year played defensive end. I remember him clearly doing a great job at that position. Here he is a year later, and he will be next year the premier football player in the state of Pennsylvania, and on top of every recruiting list. And he will be recruited probably as a fullback, because that young man can run the ball.
Dave Armstrong off to the University of Michigan.
There's Bill Stone, stutter step move, he's still cooking it. Inside the 15 to the 14-yard line, and another Central Bucks first down.
What the move by Stone does right there is it stands up the defender. You know, you want to stay in that good athletic position when you're playing in any sport. And watch this. Stone comes down around the corner. He's got the defender in front of him. Watch, defender's down, the good athletic position right here. Now watch when he stands up. Defender starts to come up, and all of a sudden he just stutter steps right around him. Beautiful run by Stone.
That's something you don't teach a great running back, and you know that. You got the feet, you use it.
Fullback position making a comeback with a push. Every team in college going 8 guys in the box. Now you got to counter a little bit. You get a guy with a little bit of bolt and some blocking ability. Now that position's taking on new meaning.
There's no doubt that big fullback in the college ranks right now is extremely important. Besides, Dave Armstrong last year for Central Bucks, I was told the other day they moved him to defensive tackle at the University of Michigan.
stand.
There's Stone whirling through the door right to the 1-yard line. He didn't make it. Got close.
I don't mean to bring up bad news for the Newcastle fans. This is possession number 7 in the game, and this would be touchdown number 7 if they score.
Well, they're right on the welcome mat, as you see. That's the distance to the yellow stripe.
You got young kids in there right now that want to score as much as the first group does right now, so there's no slacking off when you look at Central Bucks' first, second, or third team players. They want to get in the end zone because there's an opportunity for me to score a touchdown in a state championship game.
That's got to be a tremendous advantage for teams like Central Bucks West when they can get into games like this, important games, and play the second, third, fourth teams. Gives them a
valuable experience for next year.
Experience.
Their goal to go at the 1-yard line. Stone on a keeper. The pile moves. That's how dominant it has been. Touchdown, Central Bucks West. 48-0 Bucks, and there's Bill Stone, the quarterback.
We thought time of possession in this game would be so mammoth, and in a sense it has been, but 22 minutes and 33 seconds for Newcastle, 17 minutes and 30 seconds for Central Bucks West. And yet those 17 minutes and 30 seconds have been punishing on the defense for Newcastle.
Are they nearing a record yet? I mean, I know last year they rushed for over 500 yards in a terrible weather kind of situation. I'm sure they're up there pretty high at this point.
449 yards to date.
There's Tumulty for the extra point, and that is good. He snuck that one in. 7:48 to go.
Tumulty, I think, is the most exhausted player right now on the Central Bucks West team.
We talked to you earlier this afternoon just about the Mount Carmel, their down guys. This offensive line for Central Bucks West as good as you can find at this level. I mean, considering the experience that they have, the size and the athleticism, you just don't see this kind of stuff every day.
Not at any high school level. I'd love to see Canton McKinley come up here. Wouldn't it be great to have a national championship game in high school football? I mean, the Pennsylvania State champion in Quad A versus Ohio. We do it in the Big 33 game. Wouldn't that be an awesome game if we can find a dome stadium to get it done? I mean, you're talking about two great programs. How can you be any better than Central Bucks West?
That's what we were saying earlier. How can there be 6 teams above these guys in the USA Today poll?
Well, you have to understand these USA Today polls. They had Berwick ranked up there in the top 5 most of the year. Okay, I'm sorry. You put Berwick out on this field here today, and I think Central Bucks West is going to win going away.
Yeah.
That last drive, a typical Central Bucks West drive, 9 plays, 85 yards, 5 minutes and 25 seconds. 7 plays, or 7 sets of plays, and 7 touchdowns.
That's one of the reasons we, when Jed and I discussed the USA Today poll, we call it the mythical national poll, because it is.
It is.
I mean, you know, it's very difficult to gauge the various classes of high schools throughout the nation. And, you know, some teams come up and sneak up and surprise them, and then other teams get the advantage the next year because maybe they were better the year before. For instance, Cumberland Valley in '92, they were non-existent basically throughout the year. Then all of a sudden they ran the table, appeared in the top 15. Yep, and then next season, preseason number 1, Harrisburg High, who was loaded for bear in District 3 at that time.
I was surprised that Central Bucks West was not rated higher at the beginning of the year, knowing how many returning players they have from the year before. I was surprised. I expected to see CB West in the top 5 in the country at the beginning of the year, but I don't even think they were ranked at the beginning of the year, which was very, very surprising.
Yeah, I think the top team from the East was Cumberland Valley.
Cumberland Valley. That's exactly right. And CB West probably had as many or more people coming back as Cumberland Valley, and CB West had beat him head-to-head the year before, so he couldn't understand it early, but right now it's coming to the top. We know who the best is in the state of Pennsylvania.
Sure is.
I'll tell you, I have a lot of respect for the Newcastle kids. They've fought hard.
Well, the book on them coming in was no shortage of heart. You can certainly see that here tonight. But right now, the largest margin of victory in PIAA final history is 43 points. And that being threatened right here at the moment. That was a 49-6 win that we did, Southern Columbia over Western Beaver in 1994.
When you talk about great coaches, we just saw Mike Pettin there. Is it attention to detail?
Yes, it is.
Kind of separates him a little bit.
Yes, it is. There's no doubt about it. It's attention to detail and putting the time in the finer points that a lot of coaches don't work on that Mike Pettin does along with his staff.
Coach, you also hear the word intolerance thrown around an awful lot, that the great coaches are the ones who are intolerant of mistakes. Not necessarily mean, but intolerant.
Well, that's repetition, and that's the discipline part, and that's the confidence part that these kids have at Central Bucks West.
Joe Cowart looking. Kane, there's that basketball experience and a first down inside the 30, all the way to the 25-yard line, and the longest gain of the night for Newcastle. I'll tell you, this Pat Kane is a nice look at tight end. He can get downfield, and he's got nice, soft pillow hands, a gain of 54 yards.
Well, you know darn well right now that Newcastle wants to get in the end zone. There's one thing that doesn't want to happen is to be shut out in a state championship game. They're going to do everything they can in these last 6.5 minutes to get in the end zone.
Take the victory where you can get it.
How hard is Coach Mike Pettin right now working his young kids in there to keep the shutout?
Well, let me tell you, right now everybody on that Central Bucks sideline wants the shutout because it's very important to those seniors to leave here with a shutout. But sometimes you get caught, if you know what I mean. You want to give everybody a shot to play in the game because they practiced hard since August, and if they score, they score. But right now, you know they're fighting their hearts out. They don't want to give up a touchdown.
I give you the statement, you practice like you play. I know you're a big stickler for Monday through Friday.
I would love to be at a Central Bucks practice. I would love to see how they run their program, to see how things get done Monday through Friday, and I'm sure there are very few mistakes going on.
Has an awful lot to do with how things are going. They're looking deep. He's got a man. Touchdown! Corey Lemon, they got on the board. Nice throw by Cowart. Both of them on this drive. You couldn't have walked it up any better.
No, that was an incredible pass and a great catch, great concentration in the end zone. Look at these people here in the stands. They're going crazy like as if they're ahead in this football game. That's the great support that they have from Newcastle.
Talk about your perfect lead. Look at this. Hands right there, ball in the hands.
It's close.
Maybe not quite the possession we thought it was when he first looked like he was going to the end zone.
Super slow-mo, though. So that's the toughest catch for a wide receiver.
Over the shoulder. Yeah,
great pass.
Coming over the shoulder like that. Yeah, he lobbed it up there. That was a beautiful pass by Cowart. That was one of the best throws of the night that we've seen. But yeah, Cowart, he has shown a lot of guts tonight. He's hung in there. He's gotten knocked around. Finally gets some points on the board for his Newcastle play.
Esquel Romano is good on the extra point. 5:55 left, 49-7. Well, that's a gritty way to get on the board. And here's the throw and catch again. And Cowart looked great on this particular drive.
Yeah. Hit him right in stride, though. That was a beautifully timed throw route.
I got to say, he didn't have it. I'm going to say, hey, but I'm not begrudging the touchdown, believe me. If there's a mercy rule, right there it was.
It's not going to affect the outcome of this ball game, I don't believe.
Let the young man feel good about himself.
You got it.
It stuck to him long enough.
And there you look at the Newcastle fans. They're feeling a little bit better right now. I'll tell you what, you marry the community and the football team. We've talked about that with the Mount Carmel program, and you're seeing that now with Newcastle. You know, there's a resurgence in the football program thanks to this 1998 team and their great run. Had a little downtime in the 80s, and then, like I said, when Coach Schooley took over in 1995, they went 0-10 his first year. And think of the strides you make in a program from going 0-10 to coming to Hershey several years later.
And they were not the favorite going into the playoffs out in the Pittsburgh area at the beginning. So they did a great job getting here, and they deserve a lot of credit for it.
9 plays, 68 yards on that drive, 49-7, 5:55 to go in the game, and Central Bucks West with a kickoff.
Oh boy.
Big hole up the middle. This is Damian Smith. He's still alive all the way to midfield. Huge gainer that time. Damian Smith with about a 35-yard rip on the kickoff return. Oh, man, about 39 yards.
Not a lot of fancy jooting by this team. It's just head north and south and get down toward that line that says touchdown.
I'll tell you what,
full speed ahead.
Central Bucks West has a great kick return team. Last week, Dave Edwards took the opening kickoff against Parkland, 67 yards, as CB West got into great shape at the Parkland 28 right off the bat. That really has to help out a football team. I mean, when you have a good return game like that, you know, great field position, you can hit the home run maybe now and again. I mean, that really has to help you out.
Anytime you can return any kick out past the 35-yard line, that's a major plus for the offense.
Ball is dropped, and it is recovered.
Take it down.
If you're looking at it right now in your Newcastle, you say, my gosh, they're human.
Phil Diajamaco is in on the
I was looking at the Central Bucks West offensive line here right now. It's probably their third offensive line out there, and if you look at them, they're all clones. Everybody across the front looks about 240, but they're puppies right now. And see, in a couple of years, they'll be up there into the 260 to 270 category, and they'll be big and strong.
The only mystery left, this is the 8th possession of the game, if they can score their 8th touchdown in a row.
Bill Stone, the senior, getting some time. And somebody jumped.
Yeah, I'd like to switch gears right now and take a tip of the hat to the production people at WITF. The hard work that these guys have put in. I mean, it is very difficult to present the sights and the sounds of 4 PIAA championship football games with this quality.
Dead ball.
And I've said it before, I'll say it again. You know, these people are the best production people in the state, bar none. And I'd like to highlight 2 people specifically. Director Flip Cousins. He's the technical detail man, and he's giving you all the pictures. And Flip's done basketball, football, wrestling, making telecasts second to none. And also direct producer Andrea Campbell. She's leaving WITF. This is her final telecast. She's going on to some other ventures. And Andrea, you are a true professional and a delight to work with. Your talents will sorely be missed at WITF. Thank you to WITF's production staff for all the sights and sounds here at Hershey this weekend.
It's been a lot of fun, no question about it. I wouldn't be anyplace else. Chocolate Town, USA. What do you think so far of the Hershey experience this weekend?
Well, I think they did a great job hosting the tournament. It's a great place to be. And, you know, for our sake, I hope that the tournament does remain close by. It makes it a lot convenient for us people in this area of the state.
I'd like to echo what Mark said about the crew. I mean, you get all the different angles of the game. You get the sounds, the sights. We got inside and heard the referees throughout the weekend. We saw every picture you could want. We got instant replays like this all night long, picking up the action and giving you a chance to see it again. And there is no more quality crew around than the production crew of WITF and all the great people down there. And again, Andrea, thanks for a great job and good luck with whatever you go out and do. I'm sure you're going to be a very, very successful person.
Ball at the 22. Hand off Damian Smith. He's a junior. He's still cooking it, still burning it to the 5-yard line. A gain of 17. It's a stable.
Well, no matter who they put in there, they get after it, don't they? They're blocking, they're running, they're doing everything consistently. That's why they're a great football program.
And Mike Barrett, a wide receiver in there, doing a kickout block 10 yards downfield.
Now, Coach, how important is it to have the system as far down as you can get it? Let's say the Pee Wee level. You know, does Coach Mike Pettin maybe have some input as to what type of systems and what kind of practices they run at that level? Is that how a Central Bucks West gets so good?
Smith, touchdown. Damian Smith is in from 5 yards out.
Having consistency in the program, starting down from the mini level on up to your junior high, your JV program, the same system, the same numbering system, same whole system, same plays is a tremendous plus, because a lot of these kids here might be playing for the 5th year in the Central Bucks system. And when you're a senior, it's so easy now. It's all hat. There's very few mental mistakes. And in the game, if you got to think before you do it, you make mistakes. Right now, it's all reaction for them.
So realistically, these kids could be playing virtually the same system since they were 7 or 8 years old.
Oh, I would think that they probably are.
Guys, that 5-yard touchdown gave Central Bucks West 500 yards for the night. They also have scored on every possession this season. That has got to be a record.
Tumulty and got it through there.
Well, you're not going to get any style points on that, but effectiveness, hey, it still counts for one.
Jim, high school football in this state, last year we're projecting almost 6-7 million people went to a high school game. With all the money that's out there, professional sports, affordability and the like, are people reattaching themselves to the community team, the name on the front, not the back right now?
There's more to high school football than any other sport, I think, right now. I think locally and across the state of Pennsylvania, people really get into high school sports. I don't care if it's football, basketball, people really get behind it. They love to watch the amateurs out there, not getting paid a lot of money, not getting paid anything to play the game, but they're playing for their heart and soul and playing for themselves and their communities.
Coach, you mentioned it a few minutes ago, here in a game tonight where our team's losing 56-7, and yet if you look down at the Newcastle fans, the experience, the joy of playing in a championship game, maybe the chance to come back again some other time, the exaltation when their team scored a few minutes ago, it's all there. It's kind of a certain pureness that you don't see out there maybe in the professional ranks.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime. That little guy on the sideline down there having a lot of fun. That's a dream for him, too, to be at Hershey Stadium. You know, for a lot of these people, from us being in the central part of the state, we've been at Hershey Stadium so many times, but these people, the first time here, were in the big Hershey Stadium, where the Big 33 game is played, where the state champions are. This is a tremendous experience for those people.
I heard someone say today, came in from Mount Carmel. He said, you know, you can smell chocolate everywhere around this place. And we've all gone through that at least one time in our lives coming into this town.
From the lamps downtown and everything. 2:50 left.
Well, by the looks of it, Coach Gary Schooley is building something at Newcastle, too.
How much pride, East and West, is there going on with you coaches right now as far as all this? 3 out of 4 for the East.
A lot. Next week we have.
Interesting in January when you guys get together.
The next week the state directors meet at Penn State, and us Eastern coaches will all walk in with a big smile because there's always that who's better, East versus West. Well, I don't think there's any question this year. In Quad A, Triple A, and Double A, Eastern football is definitely #1.
Coach, first time since 1993 we had 4 WPIAL champions in here also. How important is that, you know, as far as the Eastern coaches are concerned, playing the WPIAL champions? Everyone knows a lot of pride out there.
Well, you know, it's great, though. I mean, everybody, no matter where you're from, should feel good about the football in your area. I guess this year the WPIAL coaches sort of have to eat crow a little bit and admit that Pennsylvania has dominated in the state championship. It's not like these games were close. The PA programs have dominated in 3 of the 4 football games, and we're by far the better football teams.
You talk about the eastern side of Pennsylvania, of course.
56-7, and
yeah,
you're watching tonight, in my opinion, the best team in the 11 years of this tournament, at least for one night anyway.
I don't think you can argue that right now. I don't think there's been a dominance like this other than maybe last year their performance. There has not been any level a team that has dominated so physically up front.
Well, the largest 4A difference ever in a game was 35 points. Downingtown in that 49-14 win over Woodland Hills. We saw that in '96. But even last year, the team didn't score on every possession. I mean, that's perfect. That's like throwing a no-hitter in my estimation. You're going down the field, you got 500 yards in yardage again, which equals last year. How much better can you get?
The only problem with that is if you happen to be the punter, and that's the only time you get in the game for Central Bucks West, you didn't get in the actual football game here tonight.
But his medal's going to be the same color as everybody else at the end of the evening, right?
It's going to be a beautiful gold medal. Believe me, he'll wear it with pride.
I'll tell you what, in these championship games, the victor in each game has really shut down their opponent. We've seen the 56-7 score here.
Mount Carmel
44-7.
Today.
Mount Carmel, a victor. 2 shutouts yesterday.
Yeah, Mr. Cowart working hard. Joe Cowart. He's got a touchdown pass tonight.
We talk about the punting in this game. There's been only 1 punt in the entire game.
A lot of coast-to-coast stuff going on tonight.
Double kick.
Get the impression the Central Bucks West kids got a little incensed after that last touchdown here with the blitz that we just saw in this last play.
I was talking to the coaches at halftime up here, and they were telling me, you know, we knew that Central Bucks West was good. We didn't know how good, and I guess they found out the hard way.
I guess when you're an underdog, you just hope you don't get their A game. Well, they got the hard one tonight. Yeah, and then some.
You know, you watched Championship Saturday last week. The underdogs took the favorites to the limit and won 2 out of the 3 games. So anything can happen in a football game, and you hope when you get there that maybe they won't be on top of their game. Maybe they'll fumble the ball, throw interceptions, or something, but not tonight.
Yeah, that wasn't the case tonight. You can see that Central Bucks West was certainly on top of their game from the outset.
40 seconds to go to a championship for Central Bucks West, almost anticlimactic at this point.
There's Pat Kane. You'll see him maybe in March here in Hershey on the basketball floor. He's a good one at 6'5", 220 pounds. And the Newcastle kids.
No shame in losing to this club, boys.
It's not.
Okay.
20 years from now, I think the more the years go by, the more this legend's going to grow with what we just saw here tonight, Jim. I honestly truly believe that.
There's no doubt. You know, I look at this game here. I remember back in '85, we played at Bishop McDevitt for a district championship game when they had Broski, Ricky Waters. They had 3 Division I running backs. And we said to ourselves, my God, of all years to get to this game, but the thing that we kept telling ourselves, we probably lost to one of the best football teams in District 3 history. The same thing here tonight with Central Bucks West.
As they count it down for Mike Pettin, got his 300th career win, and now a 2nd consecutive state champion in Quad A, the first in Quad A to do so. And And what we've seen of some of the youngsters, don't be surprised if a year from now that these guys have this on their schedule again.
Well, if you're a betting man, I would bet that they'll be back next year. I wouldn't bet against them, even though Parkland returns their team intact next year pretty much, so there might be some stiff competition. Norristown returns a great deal of players down in District 1. To come out of District 1, though, District 1 arguably might be the best football in the state. I know the people here in Mid-Penn would argue that, but it might be the best, and to come out of there, they're definitely a favorite to win it again next year.
Well, they certainly had an upcycle. Jim, it was delightful working with you all weekend. I really appreciate the perspective that you gave us here all
Thank
weekend.
you. I appreciate it. I had a lot of fun.
Jim Contafio, head coach at Wilson. Get here one of these years, will you? We'll have all kinds of fun if you're down there.
Hey, we plan on getting here someday. We're going to work hard, and hopefully we won't be up here in the box. I told Four, one of two things. Either we're on the field or in the box. No in between.
No in between. All right,
That's
buddy.
it.
Thank you, Jim.
There you go.
Jim Contafio was a Big 33 coach this past summer, and really appreciate that. Well, guys, we just saw, in my opinion, the best night a team could have played. I mean, that's the best team in the 11 years that we've seen in the tournament for one night. And you can make a strong case. I'm not going to say best up, but they were just fabulous.
I think Gary put it best. I mean, when you see a football team score on every offensive possession, how rare is that? I don't know if I've ever seen that, quite honestly. And that's a rarity on the level of a perfect game, you know, in baseball. That is just an outstanding performance by Central Bucks West. The offensive line is incredibly dominant. We talked about that with Coach Jim Contafio. They lose their first team All-Stater, Pat Carver, and hey, they don't miss a beat. Obviously 56-7, but with Newcastle, I'll tell you what a long way they've come in the short reign of Gary Schooley, and here they are at Hershey just several years after an 0-10 season. The future is bright at Newcastle as well.
Gary, a coach, once in his life likes to go into a championship environment and see his team play their A game. For Mike Pettin, was the best of both worlds. Not only did he get an A game tonight, he got it for the entire postseason. What an exclamation point.
Well, you dream about the moment. You're always in search of the perfect game. You know you'll never reach it, but you're in search of it all the time. It's kind of like after the Holy Grail. And tonight, Mike Pettin's team may have come as close to the perfect game as he'll ever see them play. The third championship in 7 years for the gold and black. I mean, this game tonight was like taking and putting out the crown on the top of the jewel and just saying, here it is, guys. Here's the best we have to offer. And you know, so many times you last into this game and you end up surviving. Tonight, they come into this game and they painted a masterpiece, and they walk out of here and the painting is finished for the year. And a chance to start thinking tomorrow again about, could we do it 3 times in a row?
It was a true Rembrandt performance tonight. A lot of thanks again to the staff here at the Hershey Sports and Entertainment Company with Scott Mullen, the general manager, facilities here at the stadium. And again, many thanks to the WITF production crew. Phenomenal job over the weekend. And the PIAA, it was awesome presenting in association with PCN, seeing all 4 games live on the Pennsylvania Cable Network. We can't wait till the month of March when we bring you wrestling, team, and the Parade of Champions, and then basketball, March Madness, coming to PCN in the month of March. For Gary Sutton, for Mark Shuey, our entire WITF production crew, from Chocolatetown, USA, a resounding 56-7 win for CB West. Good night, everybody.
This game was paid for by PCN and your local cable TV system. The Pennsylvania Cable